taking one for the team. Yeah, let's do it. Welcome everybody to the Cotuit Kettleers pregame show.
I see them every time I close my eyes. It's a waking nightmare, Zach, and frankly, standing.
And have any of their bench players listed?
And Ben, while we await the pregame ceremonies, let's get your best Bill Belichick impression.
Cincinnati.
Back to you in the studio.
I just learned this is Joe Jonas' band yesterday.
Yeah, it is. He performed a thon. He made it for a surprise performance at Penn State. Yep.
Max, you just
talk about banter all the time.
We have a lot of banter.
We do a real-ish pregame show.
No, we actually have a real pregame show.
Joe Jonas?
Yes.
This
It's
singing
his
right
band.
now is
It's
Joe
his
Jonas.
band. It's DNCE. What?
I did. Don't get on me.
DNCE.
Max was right, but
Welcome everybody to the Cotuit Kettleers pregame show. Alongside me, Ben Fisher. I'm Zach Kaplan. The Kettleers coming off a doubleheader sweep yesterday of the YD Red Sox, and then the Bourne Braves coming in here today. A makeup game from last week, Ben. Some inclement weather forcing the cancellation of said game. Was a scheduled off day for the Kettleers, but here we are at Lowell Park. First pitch set for 5 o'clock. We'll send you up to Sam and Sam shortly before then, but for now, let's preview today's game, Ben. Bourne Braves are in town, and the Kettleers looking to pick up right where they left off, a 3-game winning streak heading into today.
yeah, they're doing well so far. They've woken up the bats. The pitching, I mean, it hasn't been as sharp as the first couple days, but they're not letting up a lot of runs, and they're putting themselves in position to win games and converting on that. So I think you hate to lose the off day, but I think they're ready to go today. I think they're in a good spot.
Kettleers coming in here today, having won their last 3, like I mentioned, and so that was the good. They had the big character win in Game 1. Let's talk about that for a second. Zach Bierman did a great job with that walk-off hit. They played 2 7-inning games yesterday. Zach Bierman with the clutch in Game 1, and in Game 2, it was just walk this way pretty much. Let's talk about Game 1, though. What were your takeaways from that?
I think it was a great, like you said, I think it was a great character win. I think they both were. They were both comebacks. I mean, Game 2 was gifted a little bit more with all the walks. But, yeah, I think definitely they sort of showed I liked how Coach Robert said. He said they showed the fight in the dog yesterday. So I think they showed sort of that they're coming together. They're cohesive as a team. There was a little bit more spirit from the dugout than there had been previous games, spirit out in the field. So I think that was definitely, I mean, winning 11-3 is always fun. Winning on a walk-off is always fun. But I think early in the season, it's sort of what those games represented that I think means a lot more than the actual results and the scores.
So the bats coming alive in Game 1, getting the walk-off there. And then Game 2, I mean, the first 2 in that, they all came apart. People forget, YD led in that game 3-2, and then it's two hits and 5 straight walks by the YD pitching staff just enabled the Kettleers to blow the game wide open.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can see the shirt. I hate to take anything away from Cotuit, but YD lost that game much more than Cotuit won it. And I think Cotuit, I mean, they did go out and they converted on opportunities, and obviously it takes some work to take pitches, but they were missing by a lot. So yeah, I think YD lost that game more than Cotuit won it. So I think, but you're going to take the win. And yeah, YD just sort of, I think maybe the heart was taken out of them from the first game, because they just fell apart.
So there you have it, the good for the Kettleers. There was a little bit of bad, you got to take the good with the bad, even though it's sort of nitpicky with a doubleheader sweep, but some control issues, a little bit from pitchers out of the bullpen. What was some of the bad we saw yesterday from the Kettleers in the doubleheader? Yeah,
pretty much just that. Pretty much just control issues. It was people struggling to throw strikes. You had 8 walks in Game 2 in a 7-inning game, and that's never what you want to see, especially for a team where you have Weinstein, you have Roberts, you have the pitchers, always talking about throwing strikes. So yeah, the walks were a negative that you don't want to see, but I think overall it was some good games.
As the Bat Boys join us here, walking back and forth across our set, let's talk about some of the roster changes. These guys might not last too much longer if they keep it up, but we'll see what happens here. So for the Kettleers, though, no releases heading into today's game, but a few guys coming in tomorrow. Ben, can you talk to us about who might be joining the Kettleers in 24 hours or so?
Yeah, you got Mike Tolia and Chase Trumpf coming from UCLA to the solid right side of their infield, off a good team. So they have chemistry together, and they're two solid players. And then you have Seth Schumann, I think, is coming from Georgia Southern. He was here last year. He's a solid arm out of the bullpen. The bullpen hasn't been an issue so far, but reinforcements are always nice. So I think they'll definitely be heartened to get those reinforcements tomorrow.
So let's talk about Tolia, Tolia and Schumann, like you mentioned, returning players for this Kettleer team. So second years coming in here, hopefully provide a little leadership with this mostly young team. Well, let's talk about the lineups for each team today, starting with Cotuit. It's almost exactly identical to the doubleheader lineup yesterday. The only difference, really, Pastrana staying in a catcher from Game 2 ahead of Zach Humphreys. But again, Burdick, Robertson, Dillard, and then Bierman, Jones, Brundage, followed by Oviedo, Wood, and Pastrana in order there. And then it's John Baker on the mound. Baker's had good stuff so far this year.
Yeah, he threw. He started the scrimmage, which again, not great competition, but he was throwing strikes. He was building up the velocity. He threw a great game against Brewster to start the year, and I think he doesn't have like super overpowering stuff, but he mixes his pitches and he throws strikes, which is a big thing for these guys. And I liked how he threw in Game 1. He left with the game, I think 8-1 or 9-1, and he struck out a guy to end the fifth his last inning, and he just had a fist pump off the mound. And I really liked sort of that, showed like the emotion and the engagement that he's feeling. So I think I'm definitely excited to see him pitch again, and I think he can come out and throw a great game for Cotuit.
He had great stuff in Game 1 against the Brewster Whitecaps. We'll see if he can have it tonight as well. And here's the lineup that Baker will be going against. So it'll be leading off is Murray playing center field for the Braves, then Fitzgerald batting second, playing second, followed by Horwitz, the designated hitter in the 3 spot, Brickhouse, the guy we're going to talk about in the second, the cleanup spot, the first baseman, the 5 spot, Orienti, the right fielder for the Bourne Braves, followed by Triolo playing third, batting 6th, Serratos playing left, batting 7th, then Johnson, the catcher, in the 8th spot, and then Williams in the 9th spot. DeCesar, Julius DeCesar. That's not his actual first name, but it would be pretty cool. DeCesar, the starter, Jared DeCesar, that is, from George Mason, the starting pitcher today for the Bourne Braves. So let's talk about them a little bit. 2-4 on the season hasn't exactly been their start. We were talking with their broadcasters before the game. There's been winnable games for this Bourne Braves team. They just haven't been converting.
Oh yeah, I think they've definitely they've been disappointed with where they're at so far. I think they just haven't. They've had some good performances on the mound at the plate, but I think they've shot themselves in the foot. We'll talk about their defense in a minute, and just they've lost some games that they think they could have won or even that they should have won. So I think they aren't happy with where they're at right now.
See if they can change that today. Let's talk about the offense a little bit. We mentioned Spencer Brickhouse, their cleanup hitter today, and he is really a brick house, 6'4", 220, and he shows every inch and every pound of it, if you will. Leading offensively, he has a home run already. He has 5 RBIs, both of which lead the Braves so far this season. Spencer Brickhouse, I mean, he's got to pass the eyeball test today, but he certainly passes the statistic test.
Oh yeah, I mean, watching him take BP, you don't have to look far to figure out which one he is, even if you don't have a roster. He's the big guy, just cranking balls from the left side of the plate. It's only 320 out down the right field line, but even so, hitting balls out the way he was hitting them in batting practice is impressive. So he's definitely a guy to watch with power. And then they've got running. They've done really well. They're 9 for 9 stealing bases this season. It's been Tyler Fitzgerald from Louisville, Aika Williams from Arizona State, and Anthony Prado from UConn. They're each 3 for 3. Those 3 guys on the infield. So they sort of the opposite of YD yesterday, who were really aggressive and unsuccessful. These guys have been running, and they have been running very well. So that's a dangerous aspect of their offense in addition to that power.
So there you go. The base running, a strength for this Bourne Braves team, but the weakness, it's pretty obvious. It's defense.
Oh, yeah. 8 errors through 6 games, 3 of those by Prado, 2 of them by Fitzgerald on the infield. I mean, like you see, DeCesare, I'm not sure of the.
We'll go with DeCesare.
We'll go with DeCesare. He in his first appearance, he went 4 innings and allowed 3 runs, all of them unearned. So I think definitely that sort of goes back to us talking about them losing games they think they should have won. They make unforced errors. So I think the defense, you have 8 errors, and you have all of the players are still there. In contrast, Cotuit has only 5 errors through 6 games. 2 of them were made by guys who aren't here anymore. So their defense has been bad, and it hasn't been improving to start the season. So I think that's definitely something to look out for today.
And you mentioned it, the errors have been costly. D. Cesar, he's only made 1 relief appearance so far from George Mason for this Bourne Braves team. He gave up 3 runs. They were all unearned, which means they came off errors, even though he gave up 4 hits as well. So it just seems to be the way things have gone for Bourne so far, and we'll see if they can change that this year. It seems like a very hittable guy, though.
Oh, yeah. No, he does not have a – I don't think he uses it in overpowering ways. So I think he's definitely a guy that he could come out and give him 5 solid innings, or he could come out and get knocked out in 2 innings. I think it really depends on whether Cotuit comes up with the bats they had in Wareham, or if they come up with the bats that they had in Orleans and here last night.
So let's go around the Cape League real quick here. We're going to go through the standings and then some of last night's results. Obviously, double headers around the league for Father's Day. A happy belated Father's Day, of course, if you're just watching us today. In the East Division, it's Chatham at first, 4-2-1 on the season. The Kettleers will go to Chatham for a doubleheader next Sunday, followed by Harwich next at 4-3. Of course, all these results after yesterday's doubleheader. YD 2-4-1 after getting swept by the Kettleers, and then in the bottom of the Eastern Division, Orleans and Brewster at 2-4. So the East Division still a bit up for grabs with that doubleheader, helping space things out a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, with Orleans, Brewster, and YD at the bottom, it's really been Cotuit victims getting killed in the Eastern Division and ending up in last. But yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely showing that they look like the weaker. Division between the two, just with the records and with the head-to-heads with the East and West. So I think definitely the West should probably be feeling good about cross-division games for the rest of the year.
So hopefully that trend continues. It would certainly benefit the Kettleers there. But speaking of, let's look at the Western Division. Wareham 5-2. They are the leader. The Gatemen, splitting yesterday. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But Wareham at 5-2, the leader in the division. And then yesterday we saw all 4 teams were bunched up going into the doubleheader. But now we have a little bit of separation. Cotuit and Hyannis tied for second at 4-2 apiece. Those two will play each other again head-to-head this week. Cotuit losers to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks last week. And then Falmouth and Bourne at 2-4 in the bottom of the Western Division. I mean, the standings, of course, it's early. But some of the word we've gotten, Falmouth got a lot of guys in Omaha. We'll talk about our guys at Omaha shortly. But these Western Division standings so far, definitely a lot different than what we saw last year, where you saw Falmouth and Bourne make the playoffs, and the Kettleers as well. Wareham and Hyannis missing out. They were the bottom of the division. Things a little bit flip-flopped here early on. Certainly.
Well, Wareham has, and we've talked about before, and I'm sure we'll talk about again, their 3 guys going to Team USA, including their shortstop and the starting pitcher we saw that day. Just they're losing really the heart and the talent of that team. So I think they're definitely going to be a different team coming down the stretch. But I think, like I said yesterday, they've got to build up that resume early in the season by winning games now. And I think there's certainly no pushover once those guys are gone. And yeah, I think Cotuit and Hyannis have both, I think 4-2 and 2-4 sort of fit. I think those guys, they've both been, Cotuit and Hyannis have maybe had a couple more good moments than bad moments. And I think Falmouth and Bourne have had a couple more bad moments than good moments. But I think 1 game over and 1 game under 500 is sort of exactly where those guys belong, because Wareham's been the only team that's really shown consistent performance so far early in the year.
One thing I want to ask you about before we talk about our players in Omaha, or at least our rostered players, that is, we had a pie eating contest yesterday and we completely glossed over it. I mean, that was just straight up carnage by the winner. Let's talk about that pie eating contest for a second in between games 1 and 2.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, first of all, you're on the hot seat. Why weren't you out there?
Why wasn't I out there? I wasn't out there because I thought it was a father-son event, and
ooh, all right.
Yeah, and my dad wouldn't participate. I tried to get my dad and brother to participate because I'm not a huge blueberry pie guy. I'm not. It's not my go-to food if I were going to be in an eating contest. So I thought I'd leave it to the professionals and to the people who enjoyed the pie. But yeah, it was impressive. Gross, I would say. That's sort of how you describe it.
That'd be a good way to describe it.
Just like it was strange. It was impressive. I was impressed by our fellow intern Sam Wojo just going in on the pie and not getting a single crumb on his shirt. So that was really the standout performance to me.
I was about to ask you think that was probably the standout performance? Sam Wojciechowski, one of our office interns from High Point University, not a single crumb on his shirt, and that's not to brag, but like that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I mean, some people would say it showed he didn't hustle enough, but I'd say it shows he eats with manners.
Shows he eats with manners. So let's talk about the Kettleers in Omaha for a second. I don't know if you saw, it was late last night, but a couple of the roster Kettleers actually pitched. One pitched against the other. Bryce Bonin of Arkansas pitched against Ryan Reynolds of Texas. Arkansas the winners last night in Omaha. Very late game. Started at 9 o'clock Eastern time after a delay in the game prior to that, the Florida game. So pretty cool, two guys batting against each other. They'll be in Cotuit soon enough.
Yeah, no, it's definitely exciting to see those guys against each other in Omaha. Yeah, like you said, I might not have seen it, and I didn't see it because, you know, as the
man's got to sleep.
A man's got to sleep, and this man's got to sleep a lot. And I was sleeping off a sunburn, and I was sleeping off several ballpark hot dogs. So, so I wasn't able to stay up for that one. But yeah, it's definitely exciting to see our guys doing well down in Omaha. And I think definitely when they get up here, I'm sure they'll talk about it with one another, and I'm sure bragging rights are on the line in addition to a national championship down there for guys who are coming to the Cape.
Last night, of course, the Arkansas getting the win over Texas, and then 4 Kettleers on the roster for the Florida Gators. They had a tough loss last night, so a little bit of an upset there. So we'll see how things progress. We'll obviously keep you updated on our pregame show as that continues. And then we forgot to go over it before, obvious omission there, last night's game, so let's talk about those briefly for a second. Cotuit sweeping YD, as we already mentioned, 5-4 and 11-3 respectively in the first couple of games. Chatham sweeping Bourne as well, 7-2 and 4-1. I mean, how does that hurt your psyche kind of going into a game like this?
I think just sort of like any 2-game win streak, losing streak, excuse me. It's demoralizing, and it's all condensed into one day. So that's just a long, painful day for Bourne. So I think they're definitely, it's a test of a team's character, whether they come out demoralized or whether they come out hungry to sort of redeem themselves from a day like that.
And then Hyannis sweeping Falmouth 8-0 and then 5-1 yesterday. I can imagine 1 run in 2 games. I mean, you can't be happy if you're the Commodores.
Oh no, and I mean they beat I can't remember who, but Falmouth had an 8-0 win earlier.
They beat YD. Yeah. Falmouth beat YD 8-0. That was actually 2 nights ago.
Yeah, so that really shows how this league goes. It swings back and forth. So that sort of, I think that shows how a team can come out one night and look great, and then one night can come out and just not have it. Like, I mean, we saw that with opening night against Brewster, and then 2 days later in Warrow, there was just a totally different looking team. So I think it definitely shows that's how baseball is in general, and I think especially with young guys adjusting to wood and adjusting to high-level competition on the Cape, you're going to get runs like that. So it's not surprising to see games like that, but it's certainly disheartening if you're Falmouth.
Then elsewhere around the league, Hyannis sweeping Brewster 4-3 and 5-4, so a couple of close losses for the Whitecaps there. They're defending their championship title has not gone well so far. Again, last in the division at 2-4, tied with Orleans in the East Division. Speaking of Orleans, they split with Wareham in Wareham last night, and then Wareham taking Game 1 4-3, and Orleans winning Game 2 10-4. So similar to here, I guess, where the first game a very close one, and the second game just a blowout.
Yeah, I think Orleans is probably still taking it out on those umpires from earlier this week with the Grand Slam.
It was a Grand Slam.
Hey, that's what the umpire said, and the umpire's word is law. No video review in the Cape League. In all seriousness, no, you'd have to hope they were past that if they were Orleans. You can't dwell on stuff like that. But yeah, that's just anybody can beat anybody. You got a basement team beating the team with the best record in the league and just manhandling them on the road. So that just shows that nobody can get comfortable, nobody can get complacent, especially this early in the year.
Absolutely, you said it best, Ben. That'll just about do it for our pregame show. It's a lovely day here in Cotuit for a ball game, so if you're watching on our YouTube live stream, come on down to Lowell Park. An absolutely beautiful night for a ball game progressing here. His first pitch set for just about 15 minutes from now. We got the National Anthem Choir getting ready to sing behind us. It's in the low 70s, mostly sunny. Some scattered clouds across the ball field, but it should be a beautiful night. While the Bourne Braves will go to Falmouth tomorrow at 6 to take on the Commodores, the struggling Commodores, like we just mentioned. Ben, before we part ways here, any final thoughts on tonight's ball game?
Nope, I'm ready for baseball, Zach.
Scouts are here, the fans are here, and the players are just warming up as they just work on putting together the infield. So that'll just about do it for us on behalf of Ben Fisher. I'm Zach Kaplan. Thank you for joining us for the Cotuit Kettleers pregame show. Now let's send it up to our broadcast booth where Sam Niederman and Sam Brief are ready to take over with the call of the game. Guys, take it away.
Thanks so much, fellas. So, the Kettleers are red hot after a wild Father's Day doubleheader sweep of the Armit Dennis Red Sox yesterday, featuring a walk-off win and an 11-3 rout. Cotuit is riding a 3-game win streak. Today's opponent in the Bourne Braves is riding a 3-game losing streak. These West Division rivals converge today at Loa Park for a Monday matinee. Hello, folks. I'm Sam Brief, alongside my partner Sam Niederman, bringing you all of today's action. And Sam, let's start with yesterday. What a wild day it was in Cotuit.
Wild day, Father's Day doubleheader against the YD Red Sox, and Cotuit gradually just broke down the Red Sox, taking that doubleheader sweep. Starting in game one, what a win. A walk-off win, 5-4 the final. Twice the Kettleers having to come from behind. They trailed early in the game, took the lead. Then the lead was taken back by YD. A tie game 4-4 heading into the final frame. Zach Bierman comes to the plate. After a leadoff walk to Zach Humphreys, he was able to plate him with the game-winning RBI single. Bierman doing his job, and he was the spotlight really all afternoon. He built a bridge into the second game, kept his hot streak at the plate alive, had an RBI double to start out the second game, another RBI in that game. Bierman going 4 for 6 with 3 RBI over the 2 games at the doubleheader. He was a big reason for the Kettleers offense that came alive yesterday. 18 hits in those 2 games, 11 runs on 11 hits in the last game. In the first game, it was a little more of an ugly win. At least that's what it was described as by Mike Roberts in between the 2 contests. But in the second one, Kettleers were the benefactor of some poor pitching out of the bullpen from YD. Of course, that meltdown back in the 5th inning where 3 walks in a row walked in runs with the bases loaded. Kettleers put up a 6 spot in that inning, and after that, it was a busted open time. Ronaldo Pastrana, big 2-run double. Adam Oviedo had an RBI triple. Really impressive stuff all around offensively for the Kettleers in that doubleheader sweep.
Zach Bierman, certainly the story of the day yesterday, the walk-off hero in Game 1. He kept it going in Game 2. How about this, Sam? On the season, with runners in scoring position, Zach Bierman is 5 for 6 from the dish with 5 runs batted in. It really does not get more clutch than that. As Cotuit will take on Bourne today, as I said already, the Kettleers on a 3-game win streak, Bourne on a 3-game losing streak. We'll have first pitch for you in a few minutes, but first, we're going to take a break for the national anthem. We'll be right back with some Cotuit Kettleers baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back into beautiful Lowell Park for today's Monday matinee between the visiting Bourne Braves and the Cotuit Kettleers. Sam Brief alongside Sam Niederman and our entire broadcast crew today, bringing you today's action, whether you're watching online on our YouTube stream or listening online on Mixlr. We'll have the action all afternoon long. Bourne Braves limp into this one. They're 2-4 on the season. In fact, they're 1-4 against the East Division, 1-0 against the West. Almost all their games have been against that Eastern Division. They've lost 3 in a row. Their last 2 games were a doubleheader yesterday at home. They lost 7-2 and 4-1 to the Chatham Anglers. On the flip side, the Kettleers are red hot, 4-2 on the season. They are winners of 3 straight, including a wild doubleheader yesterday, featuring a walk-off win from Zach Bierman, and then also an 11-3 rout in which we just watched the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox kind of collapse before our eyes. It's sunny, blue skies with some white clouds splattered about, 74 degrees, pretty still day, not too windy, but the wind blowing out ever so slightly into left field. Right now, the 2 managers are meeting with the umpires, who are in their powder blue-clad uniforms. Mike Roberts in his 15th year with Cotuit, and Harvey Shapiro, another Cape Cod veteran, in his 16th season as the head coach. Let's get the pitching matchup for you today, and it starts with John Baker. He's on the bump, getting the start for the second time this season for the Kettleers. The 6'3", 210-pound junior out of Ball State was 5 for 5 with a 3.68 ERA and a .118, 118 strikeouts, second most in the Mid-Atlantic Conference, the MAC. And Baker started the season opener for the Kettleers, and he was dynamite. 5 innings strong, gave up 6 hits, no earned runs, 8 strikeouts to 1 walk for John Baker. On the flip side, it's going to be Jared DeCesare for the visiting Braves. He pitched in the season opener for the Braves against the YD Red Sox. He went 4 innings, gave up no earned runs, but 3 runs coming off of errors, where Bourne had 4 errors in that season opener. They actually lead the Cape Cod League with 10 on the season. He also struck out 3 in 4 innings of relief work in that opener. John Baker is warming up right now with his battery mate, Ronaldo Pastrana, getting the start for the second time this season. He got the nod at catcher to start Game 2. We'll set the Kettleers defense for you, and then the Bourne lineup. From left to right in the infield, it's Eric Jones at third, Adam Oviedo at short, Corey Wood at second, and Zach Bierman at first. This is the exact same defensive lineup we saw in Game 2 yesterday. In the outfield, it's Will Robertson in left, Bo Brundage in center, and Peyton Burdick out in right field. Chase Murray will lead things off for the Braves. He's a center fielder out of Georgia Tech, batting .238 on the season. He'll be followed by Tyler Fitzgerald out of Louisville, then Spencer Horowitz, the designated hitter out of Radford. In the 4 spot, Spencer Brickhouse out of Eastern Carolina. The big first baseman is a .409 hitter on the season, leading the Braves in just about every offensive category. Danny Oriente, the right fielder, bats 5th. Jared Triolo at third base out of Houston. He's the 6-hole hitter. And then 7-8-9 is Oscar Serratos, Cooper Johnson, and Alika Williams. On the bump for the Braves again is Jared DeCesare, and they're led by their 16th-year manager, Harvey Shapiro, who's been around a few teams on the Cape, was previously an assistant for Wareham and YD, and also a head coach for Falmouth. Strike 1 comes in for John Baker, and we're underway here. 4:59, a minute before the scheduled first pitch. And already an 0-1 count for Baker. He sends 1 in. It's a fastball fouled off down the left field line. No balls and 2 strikes. Kettleers in the home whites. Maroon pinstripes up and down with the block Cotuit across the front. And he sends a fastball high and outside for ball 1. Bourne in the traveling blues with gray pants, and Braves in white across the front. Here's a ground ball to the left side, scooped up at the bag by Jones. Long throw across the diamond to Bierman for a quick out, number 1.
Once again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but Eric Jones fielding his position nicely there at third base, goes over to his right. That play by the bag, he was able to make a good backhand pick and a strong throw corner to corner to Zach Bierman for a quick out, number 1.
Here comes Tyler Fitzgerald now to bat for the Braves. He's a returning Brave, 1 of 7. That leads the Cape League. First pitch from Baker is a fastball in there for strike 1. Last year, Fitzgerald for Bourne played in 25 games. He hit 169 with a home run, but 455 in the playoffs as ball one comes in low. Bourne, of course, went last year to the Cape Cod Championship game, where they lost 2-1 to the champion Brewster Whitecaps, and Tyler Fitzgerald was a big key behind that playoff run as he takes strike two on the outside corner, 91-mile-per-hour heat from Baker. Fitzgerald out of Rochester, Illinois, a Louisville Cardinal. Louisville went to the College World Series in 2017, so he has plenty of playoff experience at many different levels, but he swings and misses there for strike three. That was a fastball right at his chest, and a quick 2 outs for John Baker.
Well, John Baker looking strong early, firing and attacking hitters, getting his 9th strikeout of the season, his first of the game, and now he's got an easy 2-out, nobody on situation to face a 3-hitter in Horowitz.
Spencer Horowitz takes ball one, or strike one rather, the late call from the home plate umpire Tyler Bullock. At first base on the umpiring crew is Bob Gardner, and there comes in a breaking ball a little bit high for ball one. At third is Steve Durantz. That's our crew today in the powder blue shirts. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, top of the first. Here's the pitch from Baker, swung on a ground ball to the right side, scooped up by the second baseman Wood, fires to first to get out number 3. So John Baker struck out 8 and looked dynamite in his season opening start, and he's got a 1-2-3 inning and looks good early for the Kettleers. It's 0-0 heading into the home half of the first on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here in Cotuit, home half of the first, it's a 0-0 score between the Braves and the Kettleers. Now let's set the Kettleer lineup for you. Peyton Burdick will lead things off. He's the right fielder out of Wright State. Will Robertson batting in the 2-hole. Thomas Dillard batting 3. Zach Bierman, who was the man of the day yesterday, walk-off hero in Game 1. He had 4 RBI yesterday in the doubleheader. He gets the cleanup nod. Eric Jones at the 5-hole. Bo Brundage 6. Adam Oviedo, the shortstop, in the 7-hole. Corey Wood bats 8th. And Ronaldo Pastrana, the new catcher out of Marshall, will bat 9th. This is the same exact lineup we had yesterday in Game 2. We were told that it's very rare for Mike Roberts to not switch up his lineup game to game as the first pitch comes into Burdick on the outside corner for strike 1. But no changes offensively or defensively from Mike Roberts from yesterday's Game 2 to today. Jared DeCesare is on the bump for Bourne, and he fires in a fastball outside for ball 1. DeCesare out of George Mason University, 5'11", 195-pound right-hander, a two-way player at George Mason, as Burdick fouls one back for strike 2. This past season for the Patriots, he was 6-5, 3.33 ERA. Great strikeout-to-walk ratio, 71 Ks, 15 base-on balls. And he's got a 1-2 advantage on Peyton Burdick. No one out, no one on. No score, bottom 1. DeCesare gets the signal. He kicks and fires. Swing and a miss, strike 3. A strikeout on the first batter DeCesare sees, and Peyton Burdick heads back to the dugout. Now let's set the defense for the Bourne Braves. Battery mate of Jared DeCesare is going to be Cooper Johnson at the catcher spot. Spencer Brickhouse at first base, Tyler Fitzgerald at second, Alika Williams at short, Jared Triolo at the hot corner at third base. And here's Will Robertson to face DeCesare. He takes a big cut and a miss for strike one. Outfield from left to right, Oscar Serratos, Chase Murray, and Danny Orienti. 10 errors this season for that Bourne defense. That's most in the Cape League, as Will Robertson takes ball one outside. Sunny day at Lowell Park, 75 degrees. This is the only game today in the Cape League after all doubleheaders yesterday. There's strike two on the outside corner, a breaking ball just pinned outside. It's a 1-2 count. These days after doubleheaders generally considered sacred off days, but this game was rained out on Wednesday and moved to this day. Swung on near the hands, fouled off straight back into the parking lot, 1 ball, 2 strikes. So this is it. If you're a Cape League fan, just a general Cape League fan, this is the only place you can be tonight if you want to watch some baseball. It's like we have a monopoly on baseball tonight, at least on Cape Cod. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Swung on, popped foul. Again into the parking lot, into the splash zone. We'll do it again. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
The one place to be on the Cape, though, in my opinion, at Lowell Park. Both teams trying to be efficient, make this one up early, agreed to do it after the doubleheader, and here we are.
DeCesare sets. Here's the pitch. Swung on, and it's skied high into center field. Coming in is Chase Murray, and it drops in front of him for a base hit. Now sliding into second is Robertson. He's on with a double. Kind of a funky play there. It was skied a mile high. But right in between the shortstop Alika Williams, the second baseman Tyler Fitzgerald, and Chase Murray in center, forming that kind of Bermuda triangle in shallow center field, it dropped in there, and Will Robertson was just charging into second. He's got a double after going 4 for 8 yesterday, with 2 singles and 2 doubles yesterday.
Well, that was a case of Murray, I think, playing way too deep in center field. The middle infielders, it was a little too long for their reach. Had Murray been playing a little more in, I think he would have had a chance to make a play on that ball. But Will Robertson, the fortunate man with another high fly ball that'll go down as a double, normally a pop-out.
Swing and a miss there from Thomas Dillard. He was 2 for 6 yesterday, scored twice. Dilly out of Ole Miss, DH today. He's a .316 hitter on the season with 2 doubles, as Robertson takes his lead at second, the first action on the base paths today. Pitch from DeCesare. Fastball high for ball 1. Will Robertson was electric yesterday. Early in game 2, he got a foul tip right off his shin. Craig Moody, the athletic trainer here in Cotuit, had to come in to take a look at Robertson. Robertson was surely okay. Went on for a double and 2 more singles. This one swung on by Dilly and popped foul on the left side over the grandstand on the third base side. He's got a 1-2 count.
Will Robertson quickly establishing himself as one of the better players in the current Cotuit lineup. Just a temporary player out of Creighton, but a great candidate to stay here for the entire summer. Versatile, he can play first base, he can also play in the outfield. Just a good all-around athlete.
1-2 is the count for Dillard. 1 out. Robertson takes his lead at second. There's no score in Cotuit. DeCesare fires, swung on a chopper over to second base. Fitzgerald stabs it, fires to first to get the out. But it's a productive out as Will Robertson moves over to third base. A runner in scoring position for Cotuit, and you know who's licking his chops. Zach Bierman, the big slugger out of Coastal Carolina, this season with runners in scorer's position. 5 for 6, 5 runs batted in. Yesterday, he had the walk-off winner with the single out into right field to win game 1, 5-4. Game 2, he started out with an RBI double in the first, an RBI single in the second. This guy is red hot, one of the hottest hitters on the Cape, and he takes a first pitch hack and a miss for strike 1 with 2 outs and a man on third. Cotuit threatening for the first time today. DeCesare sets, shakes off the signal, then gets one he likes. Here's the pitch. Just a bit outside, and it's ball 1. Wind starting to pick up here at Lowell Park. American flag in left center field, starting to flutter a bit in the wind. Looks like it's blowing out. Here comes the 1-1 from DeCesare to Bierman. Swing and a miss. It was a little outside, ball 2, or strike 2.
A little toastier of a day than we've had here since our arrival on the Cape. Almost feels like 90.
Yeah, 75 feels like 90 with the sun beating into the broadcast booth here. 1-2 count, 2 outs. DeCesare fires, swung on and fought off. It's a foul tip.
I mean, we're due south, Sam. We're due directly south, so.
Cape Cod, a tropical climate, because it's surrounded by water. Not many people realize that, because it's so far north. That's why we have some humid days like we have today. Robertson takes his lead at third. A 1-2 count. DeCesare sets, fires. And it's in there for strike 3. A loud strike call from Tyler Bullock, the home plate umpire. He rings up Zach Bierman, and Jared DeCesare does not give up a run. So we still have a 0-0 score heading into the top half of 2 on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here at beautiful, sunny Lowell Park, we have no score in the top of the second. John Baker, the Ball State Cardinal, is back on to work this second against the 4, 5, 6 hitters for Bourne. Sam Brief, Sam Niederman will have all of today's action for you. And Sam, a good start for both pitchers.
Yeah, John Baker looks strong in his first frame. Struck out a batter, went 1-2-3, lickety split, picking up right where he left off from his strong opening day performance.
And here's Spencer Brickhouse, the big first baseman out of Eastern Carolina, to face off against Baker, who fires in a first pitch ball. Spencer Brickhouse, a mighty impressive player, 6'4", 220 pounds, a junior out of Zebulon, North Carolina. He takes a big cut and a miss for strike 1. Brickhouse leads the Braves in just about every major offensive category: runs, hits, RBI, batting average, a .409 hitter on the season. Looks at ball 2 in the dirt. At Eastern Carolina, .298 batting average, 10 homers, 50 runs batted in. And he walked 33 times. That led the Pirates. Here's the 2-1. It's fouled off on the right side. A grounder that just skips past the Bourne dugout. Now a 2-2 count.
Interesting how the Kettleers infield lining up. No shift in a definite form, but trying to play the pull here.
Here's the pitch. Swung on and it is pulled, but a liner right to the second baseman, Corey Wood, who stabs it out of midair for out 1.
Yeah, they were just shifting over ever so slightly. Oviedo was inching closer to the second base bag. Jones was almost in line where a shortstop would be sometimes at third base. They were basically daring Brickhouse to hit one down the line on the left side, and it went right at Corey Wood, who was right there for it on the L4.
Danny Oriente fouls off the first pitch. He's got an 0-1 count as Eric Jones steps in a little bit on the edge of the infield grass. Here's the 0-1, and it's a strike. No balls, 2 strikes. So Jones playing in a little bit, rest of the infield off a little deeper. Normal depth for the Cotuit outfield. Here's the 0-2, and it's high and outside for ball 1. 92 miles per hour there from John Baker. Nods the signal from Pastrana, fires it in there, and it's a slow roller to the second baseman, Corey Wood. Scoops it up, sends it to first. That's out 2.
Well, Corey Wood, busy man this afternoon. He's had the last 3 outs if you go back to the final one of the first inning. And John Baker working fast, throwing strikes, Getting outs, that's exactly what Jerry Weinstein and Mike Roberts and the entire Cotuit staff want to see out of their ace. That Game 1 starter on opening day could establish himself with that title if he keeps it up.
First pitch to Jared Triolo, pinned on the outside corner for strike one. Triolo, another returner for Harvey Shapiro's Braves, a .250 hitter last year in Bourne, and he cranks this one out to deep right field, going back Burdick, and it one hops off the wall. Triolo charging into second. He's got a stand-up double as he just mashed that one to right field. Some good opposite field power.
Yeah, Oppo indeed. That ball kept carrying. I didn't think it was going to get out of the yard, but if it had about 10 more feet of elevation, it would have. That was about 3/4 of the way up the right field fence. And it's a solid double for Jared Triolo. Just his third hit of the season. He had a home run on opening day. He's got a double here, and it gives a 2-out base runner in scoring position for Bourne. That's the first hit off of John Baker.
We're in the top of the second here at Loa Park. No score, but Bourne now with a runner in scoring position. Here's Oscar Serratos. First pitch to him is swung on and chopped foul. 0-1 count with 2 outs, a runner on second. Bourne has lost 3 in a row. They're looking to snap that streak. Cotuit has won 3 in a row. They're looking to extend it. Something's got to give. Here's the 0-1. Baker checks on the runner real quick. Back to the plate. Here's the pitch, swung on and roped into left field. It one hops into the glove of the left fielder Robertson, who fires it into the cutoff man Jones to hold the runner at third. So there's a single that creates a runners on the corners situation. It's Triolo at third, who was held up by third base coach and head coach Harvey Shapiro. Now at first, Oscar Serratos, and Cooper Johnson, the catcher out of Ole Miss, will look to break the 0-0 score.
Oh, that one was right at Will Robertson. Lucky that it came to him on a quick one hop, so he was able to get it in time to hold that runner at third base. No harm done for John Baker. Still got to get one more out here and get out of this jam.
Runners take their leads at the corners. It's Baker against Johnson. Here's the pitch. Fastball down the middle for strike one. On deck is Aliko Williams. He's the 9-hole hitter. After that, it's back to the top of the lineup. Baker sets for the 0-1, looks at the runners, back to the plate, the pitch, and it's another fastball, this time for strike two. He's just one put-away pitch from getting out of this jam. Runners on the corners, Triolo and Serratos. At the plate, it's Cooper Johnson. Bourne already threatening. They've got a .276 team batting average. That's first in the Cape. Here's the 0-2 from Baker. He fakes the pickoff attempt over to third base, then glances back to first. And we'll do it again with an 0-2 count. Kind of a funky-looking fake pickoff routine. The double whammy to third to first. Gets the signal from Pastrana, and he's set out of the stretch. Kicks and deals. Outside for ball one. That was a break. These are the top 2 offensive teams in terms of batting average, just the pure hitting. Bourne number 1 with that .276 average. Cotuit number 2 at .269. There goes Serratos on a steal attempt. He's caught in a pickle. Now here comes the runner home. The throw home, not in time. He slides under the tag, and Bourne takes a 1-0 lead, and Serratos just sneaks into second.
The old first to third with the steal as Serratos was going to second. They called and said runners going. Baker stepped off fine, had him in a pickle. But, of course, the runner on third went for it daringly to go home. Corey Wood's relay to Pastrana wasn't in time. And that's an interesting little move by the Bourne Braves to get a run home by the little first to third play on the steal.
Sort of a distraction play. It's like, okay, here's the guy caught in a pickle, and then we're just going to backdoor you and send our runner to home. It's 1-0 Bourne here in the top of the second. 1-2 count. Here's the pitch. Swung on, chopped up the middle. The second baseman Wood there. He's got it. A one-hop throw into the glove of Zach Bierman for out number 3. But Bourne with some trickery on the base paths, and the Braves strike first. It's 1-0 heading into the home half of the second right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back. It's 1-0 Bourne in the bottom of the second. And fans, Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod with 2 acute care hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, you can visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care. 5-6-7 due up in this inning for Cotuit. It's Eric Jones, Bo Brundage, Adam Oviedo. Here comes Jones, the third baseman out of Davidson. In yesterday's doubleheader, he was a combined 2 for 6 with a single and a run scored. Pretty much everyone in the Cotuit lineup came around to score. And here's the first pitch from DeCesare, who looked strong in the first. It's a breaking ball dropped into the zone for strike 1. Yesterday, a 5-4 walk-off winner in Game 1 for Cotuit, an 11-3 walk barrage in Game 2. Here's the 0-1, fouled back 0-2. Yesterday against YD, we just watched the Red Sox bullpen unravel. 6 runs in the 5th. The Red Sox walked in 3 runs, sent another run home on a passed ball, and then Ronaldo Pastrana, the catcher batting 9th, cleaned it all up with a 2 RBI double. Here's the 0-2 to Jones, swing and a miss. He completely fooled him. That's strike 3, and the 3rd strikeout already for Jared DeCesare. You hear the Bo announcement behind us, announcing the arrival of Bo Brundage to the batter's box. Brundage, center fielder out of Portland, also 2 for 6 yesterday, came around to score twice, and he takes a first pitch strike on the outer corner. Brundage, the tall, lanky center fielder out of Portland, offers a lot of speed on the base paths, and he's got a 3-game hit streak. Here's the 0-1, takes a big cut and a miss for strike 2. Cotuit in the home pinstriped uniforms. Blocked Kettleers in maroon across the front, numbers on the back. Maroon helmets and caps for the Kets. Here's the 0-2 in near the hands, fouled straight back. It pings off the backstop, the post of the backstop right in front of us. And it's an 0-2 count.
Right on the pipe, like it hit the post in hockey.
Yeah, it made a nice sound.
Yeah. All we needed was Doc Emmerich.
Off the post!
That's right.
Brundage awaits the 0-2. Here it comes. Fouled off. We'll do it again. Bourne's uniform's a little complicated. They've got the gray pants, the blue tops with red sleeves, a white script Bourne across the front with red trim, a red cap with a dark blue brim with what looks like a B across the front. Here's the 0-2. It's a fastball high for ball 1.
Yeah, Bourne's got those sort of minor league-ish crossed with like an English League Championship Division soccer uniform look with the numbers on the back.
Almost looks like a practice uniform. Here's the 1-2, swung on, and it's popped into foul territory. Coming over is the third baseman, Triolo. He makes the easy catch for the second out. Also, they've got those white panels in the underarms. Kind of a streak of white on both sides. There's a lot going on.
I do like the B logo. I think that's a good logo.
With the feather. There's a feather coming across the B.
And I love the American flag on the back of the uniform, right on the neck, right on the back in between the straps there. I love the American flag. I've always thought that's a cool touch.
Here's the first pitch to Adam Oviedo. It's outside for ball 1. Adam was 1 for 6 yesterday. The Braves, one of the newer teams in the Cape League, established in the 70s. They were one of the 2 expansion teams around that time. As Oviedo takes strike 1.
Always have thought that the best Cape League uniforms are the ones that harken back to the classic baseball. So the ones that derive from your Red Sox, your Mariners of the world, of course the pinstripes here at the Kets.
Oviedo takes ball 1 just a little outside. Kettleers certainly have that old school baseball look, the pinstripes, reminding me of the Cubs, the Yankees, all with that nice pinstriped look. White Sox as well in Chicago. And here's the 2-1 to Oviedo. Swung on, he gets a hold of it. It's cranked high and far into center field. Coming in is Chase Murray, and he makes the overhead catch for the 3rd out of the inning. There it is, a 1-2-3 inning for Jared DeCesare, and that'll do it with a score of 1-0 Bourne heading into the top of the 3rd. Sam Niederman with the play-by-play after this break on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Welcome back to Lowell Park. We enter the top of the third inning. The Kettleers trailing the Bourne Braves 1-0. John Baker back out on the mound for his third inning of work, facing the 9, 1, and 2 hitters in the Bourne lineup. Alika Williams, the shortstop, to start things off for the Bravos, who hold the 1-run lead early on here on this makeup game on a Monday here in June. Baker, the right-hander, winds up. His first pitch darted down low with a fastball. It's 1-0 to Williams. John Baker gave up a run in the last inning on 2 hits. Here's his 1-0. Off-speed pitch catches the outside corner. That'll even things up at 1-1. It was a steal of home. Jared Triolo came to score after a runner on second base tried to steal with first and third. Here's a little cue over to second base. Corey Wood has it. He'll throw it on to Zach Bierman for out number 1. Corey Wood once again with his third put out of the day. That's the 4th play he's made at second base. Leadoff man retired, and now Chase Murray will come to the plate. Bourne's top of the order. Murray 0 for 1 on the day, grounding to third his first time up. Baker's first pitch to him. Fastball on the inside, called for ball 1. Baker winds up. Here's the 1-0 again. In there for a called strike on Murray. Bourne, of course, the Cape League runner-ups last season, making it all the way to the title game before falling to Brewster. Baker's 1-1, it's low, and Murray gets ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Of course, what was so interesting about Bourne's postseason, they went 5-0 through the first 2 rounds and in game 1 of the title game. There's a swing and a miss from Murray on a good curveball, and now Baker evens up the count 2-2. And they lost their last 2 games of the season. The only losses in the playoffs came in the championship. 2-2, hit high in the air, left side of the outfield. Robertson camped under it. He'll make a 2-handed catch, and that's out number 2. So John Baker humming along smoothly after giving up a run in the last frame. He's got the 2 first batters that he faces down in this one, and Tyler Fitzgerald will come to the bat. Fitzgerald 0 for 1 today with a strikeout swinging back in the first. Right-handed batting second baseman digs in and takes a pitch way off the plate for ball 1. Kettleers infield playing straight up, outfield. Normal depth with the center fielder Brundage shaded slightly to the right. 1-0 from Baker, hit high in the air into the alley in right center. Brundage on his horse to track it and make the play, and that's the final out of the inning. A good 1-2-3 frame from John Baker on the mound. We head to the bottom of the third inning. Kettleers down by 1. We'll come back with the Kets at the plate here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the third inning coming up here at Lowell Park. The Kettleers trailing the Bourne Braves 1-0. 8-9-1 due up for the Kets. Corey Wood to start things off. Ray Pastrana on deck, and Peyton Burdick in the hole as the top of the order will have a chance at this one. Corey Wood, left-handed batting second baseman, will dig in, facing Jared DeCesare, who's into his third inning of work. Right-hander will fire in a first pitch that's fouled straight back into the fence, and it's 0-1. Corey Wood in yesterday's game, too, how about this? 0 for 1, but he reached base 3 times, all via the base on balls. He leads the Kettleers with 6 walks drawn on the season. The 0-1 from DeCesare, breaking pitch, just down low, according to the home plate umpire Tyler Bullock, and it's 1-1.
And as a consequence of that, Wood also leads the Kettleers in on-base percentage.
Here's the 1-1 from DeCesare. Sweeping curveball low and in, and it's now 2-1. Corey Wood in the driver's seat. Wood leading the Kettleers in on-base percentage. 6 walks and a .471 OBP. He's in a good spot to draw another walk as DeCesare misses again on the inside. It's a 3-1 count to the Cotuit leadoff batter here in the bottom of 3. Bourne with a 1-0 edge. The 3-1 from DeCesare sent high in the air on the left side. That's going to get out of play. Foul, and the count runs full. Ooh, a fan missed that foul ball down there. Had it bounce right off of their chest. Weren't able to make the catch.
It's a shame.
No glove. Good effort. We'll give him an A for effort.
Got to bring the glove to the game.
DeCesare shaking off his catcher, Cooper Johnson. Ready for this payoff pitch. The windup and delivery outside, ball 4. Corey Wood with a leadoff walk. That's his 7th on the season, and he does his job getting on base for the Kettleers to start the home of half of 3.
The walk master. His last 4 at-bats dating back to yesterday's game have all been walks. Billy Beane would love that. I mean, if you have read Moneyball or watched the movie Moneyball starring Brad Pitt, then you know on-base percentage in today's game is just as important as batting average, and Corey Wood's got that figured out.
Here's a man who got on base a few times yesterday. It's Ray Pastrana. The catcher out of Marshall takes a first pitch strike with a fastball from DeCesare. Pastrana in his Kettleers debut in Game 2 of the doubleheader, 2 for 4 with a double, 3 runs batted in. The 0-1 from DeCesare hits straight back to him on the mound. He'll turn and throw to second for 1. On to first, and it's a double play. 1-6-3. Alika Williams came crashing into the bag and threw it on to first. Spencer Brickhouse makes the catch at the bag to retire both Wood and Pastrana. And just like that, the GIDP clears the base pass, and there are 2 gone in the inning.
Really good job there by the pitcher DeCesare fielding his own position. It was tough. He was on 1 foot when the ball first rolled to the top of the mound, and then he had to get back on 2 feet to, just kind of take it off the mound and make the throw.
So Peyton Burdick will dig in with 2 outs and nobody aboard, and DeCesare fires in the first pitch fastball for a strike. The threat for Cotuit in this inning immediately erased. Here's the 0-1 to Burdick. Sent foul back on the right side, and Burdick down in the count 0-2. He struck out swinging his first time up. He's had a rough stretch at the plate, now 0 for his last 9 with 5 strikeouts. Bird trying to dial it in, has to protect here with a 2-strike count. DeCesare out of the windup. The right-hander kicks and deals. Off the plate with a fastball, it's 1-2. Bourne up 1-0 here in the bottom of 3. Triolo with the stolen base at home to give Bourne the 1-run lead. DeCesare's 1-2. Just sent over to the shortstop, Williams. He takes it on a few hops. He'll throw over to first, and that's good for the 3rd out of the inning. So Kettleers put a man on base to start off the inning, but don't get anything out of it as we head to the 4th. 1-0 Bourne Braves on top here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Cotuit. The Kettleers trailing Bourne 1-0 as we enter the 4th inning of play. John Baker still on the mound. 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Bravos. It's Spencer Horowitz, the designated hitter, to start things off. Baker will wind up his first pitch down low, and it's 1-0 to Horowitz, who's 0 for 1 today, grounded to second his first time up. DH out of Radford, ready for a 1-0. There's a good fastball in there for a strike from Baker, and it's 1-1. Baker winds up. Here's the 1-1 on the way. That's down low. Ray Pastrana trying to block it, and now it's a 2-1 count. And Pastrana is going to go out to the mound and have a word with his pitcher, John Baker, and make sure everybody's on the same page here. Kettleers coming off a 3-game win streak so far. The doubleheader sweep of YD yesterday. Walk-off win in Game 1, 11-3 demolition in Game 2. Of course, they went to Orleans on Saturday night, picked up the 6-2 road win, and all of a sudden the Kettleers in second place in the West. Baker's 2-1, hit high in the air, straight away to center field. Brundage tracking back on his horse. He'll make the play right in front of the wall. What a play. Bo Brundage over the shoulder catch. Out number 1 in the inning, and Brundage at the patrol there in center.
That one scared me. Hard to hit a home run out into center field here at Lowell Park. 397 to dead center. Pretty much was dead center, maybe a few feet off to the left. But Brundage with the acrobatic catch, that's why he's out there. He's got the speed and the jumping ability.
What a grab. Bo Brundage. Can't tell really how far, at least with the depth perception here, how far away he was from the fence, but he must have been pretty darn close. There's no warning track here at Lowell Park, but he was close to it. New batter is Spencer Brickhouse, all of a sudden down in the count 0-2 after fouling one off to the left side. John Baker getting some help from his defense. Now trying to retire Brickhouse with 1 away. Shaking off Pastrana 1, 2, and 3 times, and now he'll step off the rubber. Always interesting when a new catcher like Pastrana comes in. You want to make sure that you're on the same page with your pitchers, and it might take a while to get on that level. The 0-2 sent in the air once again to center field. Brundage coming in this time, but he won't be able to make the play. It'll hop in front of him. That's down for a 1-out single. Spencer Brickhouse gets aboard for the Braves.
Look for a chance. Look for a second like Bo had a chance at it. He had a beat on it initially, but that ball just hit the ground too early. But Bo had a chance to make one web gem going back and one web gem charging forward. But it's a single for Brickhouse, and he extends his incredible start for Bourne.
Baker out of the stretch, facing Danny Oriente, and he punches a strike on the outside corner. Oriente, right fielder out of Louisville, 4 of 19 on the season, with only 1 run batted in, batting in the 5-hole today. The 0-1, swing and a miss, foul tip straight back into Ronaldo's glove, and it's now 0-2.
You kind of have that Midwestern pronunciation of Louisville.
I've always gone with Louisville just because that's how they say it down south. And that's where it was the last couple of years, yep. The 0-2, upstairs on Oriente, is 1-2. I've always thought Louisville.
I don't think there's. But then some people say Louisville, right? 2 syllables.
Yeah. I don't think there's a wrong way to say it. I think Louisville natives have said that. Here's a pick over to first. Brickhouse able to dive back in safely.
I still respect you saying Louisville. It's not wrong.
I like you saying.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah, you could say Louisville or Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah.
Louisville. That's the one you can't say.
That's not right.
That's just flat out wrong.
The 1-2 to Oriente, that'll tail off the plate, and it's now 2-2. Of course, we have a couple of Louisville natives on the Kettleers roster. Griffin McLarty out of the College of Charleston and Joe Boyle of Notre Dame. I'll have to ask how they grew up saying it. The 2-2, Oriente fights it off foul on the right side, and we'll do it again.
Similar to the Syracuse debate. I think we're both team Syracuse.
Yeah, Syracuse, yeah. Yep, Mason Horodisky, our producer, affirming that behind us. Glad you're with us here on Mixler or on YouTube. Kettleers trailing 1-0 in the top of 4. The 2-2 to Oriente, once again sent back foul. And John Baker locked in a duel with Danny Oriente at the plate. Runner on first base, Spencer Brickhouse, 1 out in the inning. He reached on a 1-out single to center field. Home plate umpire Bullock says let's go. Here's another pitch, fouled off again, just on the right side. It looks like Oriente's just behind that fastball from Baker. And we'll see what John Baker and Ronaldo Pastrana dial up here. Another 2-2 count after 3 foul balls. Infield at double play depth. Brickhouse the short lead at first. Bierman holding him on. Baker comes set, closed off stance. Here's the pitch on the way. Another fastball fouled straight back into the fence, this time by Oriente, and he stays alive.
Look at that throw from the home plate umpire Tyler Bullock back to the mound. I may sense a former pitcher calling balls and strikes. Some umpires will just kind of lob it, but he gets in the position and just throws a frozen rope right to Baker. Quite an arm from Bullock.
Baker comes set, ready again for the 2-2. Breaking pitch, was it there? They will peel down to first base. Yes, he did go. Danny Oriente slightly checks his swing. He went around, and John Baker finally wins that battle, his second strikeout of the day, and that'll retire Oriente for the second out of this inning.
Felt like a battle of the Titans there. It was a long at-bat. Oriente fouled off a lot of tough pitches, but Baker comes out on top with his second strikeout.
So 2 outs in the inning, and Jared Triolo will come to the plate, takes a pitch up and in for ball 1. Triolo scored the only run of this game that's given Bourne the lead here in the top of 4. 1-0 Braves on the road. The 1-0 from Baker, swing and a miss on some high cheese, and it's 1-1. Triolo was on third base. It was a first and third situation with 2 outs in the top of second inning. And there was a steal attempt by Oscar Serratos, and that allowed Triolo to come home and score from third. Good breaking pitch in there for a called strike, and Baker gets ahead in the count 1-2. Tyler Bullock confirms the count, shouting it out to everybody, and Baker ready to go, looking in for his sign on Pastrana. And first he'll step off. Brickhouse, the runner at first base. 2 outs here in the inning. Baker out of the stretch and a quick pick over to first. A low throw dug out by Bierman and nothing doing. Baker didn't even come set that time, just quickly turned off the rubber and fired over to first. Brickhouse, not a fleet-footed guy, taking a very modest lead over at the bag. Bierman holding on. Baker comes set this time, ready for a 1-2. Breaking pitch, swing and a miss, foul tipped into the glove of Pastrana, and John Baker with his second strikeout of this inning, his third of the game to get out of it as we head to the bottom of the 4th. 1-0 Bourne on top. Kettleers will have a crack at it when we return here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the 4th inning here at Lowell Park. Cotuit trailing Bourne 1-0. The heart of the order coming to the plate. Will Robertson, Thomas Dillard, and Zach Bierman do up for the Kettleers against the right-hander Jared DeCesare, still on the mound for Bourne. Kettleers trying to smell some runs here, trying to get something across the plate, trailing by 1. These are the best players to do it with the heart of the order. Will Robertson will dig in 1 for 1 today with a double his first time up. Left-handed batter with the open stance, ready for the first pitch from DeCesare. It's a fastball low and away, and it's 1-0.
Robertson is red hot. He's seeing the ball very well. Won the battle with DeCesare on that kind of funky double to pop up to center field.
1-0, ripped on the right side, right at the first baseman, Brickhouse. He'll glove it and take it to the bag himself. 1 down on the inning, 3 unassisted.
There was an ever so slight shift put on Robertson. Robertson loves to pull the ball. And that time, Brickhouse was just a few feet off to the right, to the point where with a righty batter up or someone who doesn't like pulling, Brickhouse probably would have had to make a diving stop, and maybe Robertson could beat out the throw. But that time goes right into the shift.
First pitch to Thomas Dillard, in there for a called strike in the inner half of the plate. Dillard, another left-handed batter in this Cotuit lineup. One of 3 consecutive lefties here in this meaty part of the order. The 0-1 tapped over to the right side. DeCesare off the mound. He'll play it before it goes foul and toss it over to Brickhouse at first in time for out number 2. Dillard nearly legged it out. DeCesare choosing to field that ball, and he made a good decision. That'll retire the second batter of the inning, and now Zach Bierman will come to the plate with 2 outs and nobody aboard. Kind
of a risky play, and DeCesare flashing the wheels there. A lot of pitchers might just be content to let that one go foul and go at it again. But against a hitter like Dillard, he's like, oh, a ground ball, I got to get the out right now, and he did it well.
So Zach Bierman stands in. First pitch swinging on a breaking pitch, and he fouls it back into the fence. Down in the count, 0-1. Of course, Bierman, the hero yesterday, game-winning single in the bottom of 7 in Game 1. The 0-1 upstairs, and it's 1-1 to Bierman. What was crazy about that pitch for Bierman, or excuse me, that game for Bierman, the walk-off single on Father's Day, the second consecutive year that it's happened for the Kettleers. The 1-1, called strike on the outside corner, it's 1-2. John Martellini had a walk-off single against Brewster on Father's Day last year, a year ago to this day on June 18th. The 1-2 from DeCesare, fouled straight back by Bierman. That's pretty crazy. Deja vu for any Cotuit fans that went to both Father's Day's games. John Martellini getting it done last year, and of course Bierman yesterday.
And last year was also Game 1 of the doubleheader, just like it was this year. So 2 years in a row, Game 1 of the doubleheader walked off by a single for the Kettleers.
The 1-2 from DeCesare. Roped into the right side by Bierman. That ball sailing. It is going to punch the foul pole, and it is going to be a foul ball, according to the umpire down the right field line, Bob Gardner. Did not hit the foul pole in play for a home run. It hit it on the fence, it looked like, and they call that one foul. Once again, Bierman getting a hold of one and sent it high in the air, but pulled it a little too much. So we'll do a 1-2 again with 2 outs. Here's the pitch from DeCesare, hit high in the air. This one will be in play, shaded off to the right side of center field, and it's into the glove of Chase Murray, and that's the final out of the inning. So the Kettleers go down in order once again. Jared DeCesare pitching well for Bourne. It's a 1-0 Braves lead over the Kettleers as we head to the 5th. Sam Brief with the play-by-play when we return here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Welcome back to Loa Park, where the Bourne Braves hold a 1-0 lead over the Kettleers. Entering the top half of the 5th, John Baker, the Ball State Cardinal. Chirp, chirp to any Ball State fans out there. He's back on to work this frame. So far, he's given up 3 hits, just 1 earned run, striking out 3. That earned run came back in the top of the 2nd inning on sort of a nifty steal of home by Jared Triolo. He was at 3rd. Oscar Serratos, who's coming to the plate now, was at 1st. Serratos went to steal, got caught in a pickle, maybe intentionally, because all of Cotuit's attention was diverted to second base. Meanwhile, Triolo, who was at third, just kind of snuck into home. The late throw came from Corey Wood at second, and that's why Bourne has a 1-0 lead here in the 5th. First pitch to Serratos. He shows bunt, pulls it back for ball 1. Serratos has a single, so 1 for 1 today. Also ended up at second base after that nifty double steal. Normal depth for infield and outfield. Wind up and the delivery. Swung on, fouled off to the left side. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's a rocket of a throw from the home plate umpire, Tyler Bullock, to John Baker.
You're impressed with Bullock and his arm back there behind home plate. He's done a nice job.
I am very impressed. There's a fastball, just a little bit low for ball 2. I know a good arm when I see one. There's a good arm in blue right behind Ronaldo Pastrana.
You can't just loop it back to him. If you got a solid throw like that, it's always good.
Here's the 2-1. Foul tip that hit off Ronaldo Pastrana. He's wincing as he takes off his catcher's mask, goes down to adjust his shin guards, and comes right back to squat behind home plate. And Tyler Bullock comes out for a quick word with Baker as he just gives him a little underhand toss for a fresh baseball. Pastrana's okay, back in his catcher's stance already. Catchers have to be tough, and Pastrana fits that. 2 balls, 2 strikes for Serratos. Here's the pitch, swung on, and it's a high fly ball to right field. Burdick's got a beat on it, takes it in a few paces, and makes the catch for 1 out. Cooper Johnson up next. He grounded out to Corey Wood at second. That was back in the 2nd. The Ole Miss Rebel digs in, college teammate of Thomas Dillard on the other side. And he takes ball 1 outside. 1-0 is our score in the top of the 5th. Here's the score, swung on, and it's a liner into right field. Peyton Burdick makes the catch at his knees. A really smooth grab from Burdick. He was in the right position, right place, right time, and that's out number 2.
Good job there by Burdick once again. He fields his position well out there in right. He's an athletic kid with a lot of speed. His defense has been a plus.
This one swung on, and it's out into left field, down for a base hit. Rounding first, headed into second is Aliko Williams. Here's the throw, and it skips just past the second baseman, Corey Wood. There's a 2-out double for Aliko Williams, who just rocketed that one into left field and slid into second for the double.
Down the line, not much that the Kettleers could do about that one. Eric Jones shading a little more in on the infield. A tough play, diving effort. That one gets into left, and Williams with good speed able to get into second. Another 2-out base runner for the Bravos.
Back to the top of the order with Chase Murray. And there's ball 1 in the dirt. So now on second base, Aliko Williams. 2 outs, top of the 5th. Bourne looking to tack onto their 1-0 lead as the Braves try to snap their 3-game losing streak. Baker out of the stretch, shakes off the signal from Pastrana, now gets one he likes. Looks back at the runner, and here's the pitch. Fastball outside for ball 2. A beautiful sunny day at Lowell Park, Monday afternoon, the only game on the Cape tonight after a slew of doubleheaders yesterday on Father's Day. Here's the 2-0, swung on, chopped up the middle. Oviedo tried to make the stop, but it sneaks past his glove. Now rounded third, headed for home is Williams, and a 2-0 lead for the Bourne Braves. Oviedo had a chance to make the stop. Didn't quite go full extension, just snuck past him. And there's an RBI single for Chase Murray.
That was tough for Adam up the middle. He wasn't able to get the glove on it. I don't know if he just misjudged it with the hand-eye coordination, but I thought he was going to have that play all the way. Instead, it goes into center field for a base hit, and that could be a big run as Bourne takes a 2-0 lead here in the 5th.
Now here's Tyler Fitzgerald, the Louisville Cardinal, as he steps in looking to tack onto the lead. Baker with the pickoff attempt.
Louisville.
I went with the native pronunciation.
Yeah.
The 2-syllable Louisville. Fitzgerald 0 for 2 today, a strikeout and a flyout. The pitch from Baker swung on near the hands, and it's sliced foul off to the right side into the woods in right field. And an 0-1 count now for Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald's off to a nice start for the Braves. Coming into this one, 2 doubles on the season, a .400 batter. The second baseman batting in the 2-hole. He's a righty against the righty Baker. Here's the 0-1. Swung on and popped into foul territory on the right side. Charging in is Burdick, and it drops just at his knees. Missed it by about a half second, but it's strike 2.
Good effort by Bird out there in right. He just tried flipping the ball to a little fan who I think wasn't able to catch it, and now the ball's back on the field in foul territory. It looked like it bounced
off the piping on the top of the fence, but now a nice Bourne Brave from their bullpen coming over, and he tosses the ball to the young fan. Now showing it off in his glove. Yeah, I got a ball. 2-0 Bourne. 0-2 count with 2 outs and a runner on first. Tyler Fitzgerald at the dish. Baker on the mound, and he steps off of it. Chase Murray's at first, the speedy leadoff hitter out of Georgia Tech. Baker comes set. And here's the pitch. Breaking ball just outside for ball 1. I heard some exclamations from some Cotuit fans outside of the press box thinking maybe Baker got that decisive strike 3. But just outside, according to Tyler Bullock.
Good spot, pretty pitch. Come back to it.
Here comes the 1-2, but first a pickoff attempt to first. It's unsuccessful. That's Zachary Bierman at first base. Playing there for the 3rd time this season. He played at first both of the doubleheader games yesterday, after Will Robertson started the first 4 games of the season at first base. Here's the 1-2. There goes the runner. Pastrana fires to second, and it's in time, but first it was strike 3, so that didn't even matter. Baker ends the inning on a called strike 3. That's his 4th of the afternoon. But Bourne tacks on a run on the RBI single from Chase Murray, and it's 2-0 Braves heading into the home half of the 5th right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Eric Jones to lead things off in this bottom of the 5th inning for Cotuit. They trail it 2-0. And Jared DeCesare, who's been quite the accessory so far for Bourne, he's back on to work the 5th. He's been excellent, giving up just 1 run, or rather 1 hit, no runs through the first 4 innings, and on cue fires in as called strike 1. Also 3 strikeouts and just 1 walk for DeCesare. Jones 0 for 1. He was one of those strikeout victims back in the 2nd, and now takes strike 2 on the outside corner. Brundage on deck to be followed by Adam Oviedo in this inning. Jones set with the high socks. Here's the 0-2, swung on, chopped right into his hip. It's in foul territory, of course, so the count stays 0-2. Jones steps out to fix his white batting gloves, fixes his helmet, and gets set for the 0-2 pitch.
Can you spot the brand there?
DeMarini. Here's the 0-2 outside, ball 1.
No, Under Armour, man.
Okay.
See him?
How do you see? Oh, I see it. I see
passes,
it.
man.
I see the Under Armour logo. A gray Under Armour logo on those white gloves. Hard to spot. Here's the 1-2, and it's outside for ball 2.
Yeah, he's got the Under Armour cleats, too, that look like they're from 2011. A lot of wear and tear on those cleats. Good to see. Always like a ball player that's hustling and getting his uniform apparel dirty.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Just outside to load up the count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The Davidson Wildcat, Eric Jones, standing tall here in the batter's box. Full count for Jones. DeCesare wheels and deals. Swung on, and it's a high pop-up on the right side. Near foul territory. Coming in is the right fielder Oriente, and he makes the catch. Also in the area where Brickhouse, the first baseman, and Fitzgerald, the second baseman. And there's 1 out now in the 5th for Bo Brundage. Looking to get some action on the base paths for Cotuit. Will Robertson roped a double to center field back in the 1st inning. Since then, no hits for the Kettleers. These bats have been quite quiet after scoring 16 runs in the 2 games yesterday. First pitch from DeCesare, swung on and roped into left field, but right to Oscar Serratos, the left fielder for Bourne. There's out number 2.
It's been a tricky day at the plate for the Kettleers. As you mentioned, just 1 base runner via hit. They've had 2 base runners in this total game. Corey Wood with the leadoff walk back in the 3rd. Of course, the double play erasing any kind of threat there. And a quick 2 outs in the outfield this time, and let's see if Adam Oviedo can get something going.
Jared DeCesare has been dynamite so far. Just 1 hit through 4 2/3. Oviedo, his next victim, possibly. Strike 1 comes in, called 88-mile-an-hour fastball for the TCU Horned Frog. DeCesare's second appearance of the season. It was a shaky one his first time up, as he sends in strike 2 on the outside corner. His father, Joe, played baseball at Oklahoma State, went on to play with the Rangers, and his grandfather, also Joe, played for the Red Sox. Good baseball lineage for DeCesare. Here's the 0-2. Called strike 3 on the outside corner. Jared DeCesare is absolutely feeling it on the bump for the Braves, and they take a 2-0 lead into the top of the 6th. We'll be right back with some more Cotuit Kettleer baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Heading into the 6th inning of play here at Lowell Park, and the Kettleers trailing the Bourne Braves 2-0. John Baker still on the mound, as he'll be facing 3, 4, and 5 here in the lineup for the Bravos. Spencer Horowitz to start things off. He takes a strike on the inside corner, and Baker gets ahead. 0-1 the count. Baker so far today, 5 innings of work, allowing 4 hits and 2 earned runs. Second pitch to Horowitz, just brushed off the plate, and it's a 1-1 count. Braves got 1 more in the top of 5, the RBI single from Chase Murray. Baker winds up, right-hander delivers. That's a good fastball on the outside corner. It's 1-2 now. Baker went 5 innings strong in opening day, striking out 8 against Brewster. The 1-2 runs upstairs. That'll even up the count. In uncharted territory here for the Ball State Cardinal. His longest performance of the season for the Kets. 2-2 hit high in the air, deep right field. Burdick running back on it. He'll make the play. High point catch, and that's out number 1. Horowitz hits it hard, but it stays in the yard. Another good play by Burdick out there, battling the sun perhaps as well, and the leadoff man is retired.
Scared me for a second there. Until I saw Burdick start to camp under it, I was almost sure it was a home run. That was a missile right off the bat of Horowitz, but luckily for the Kettleers, it's just out number 1.
New batter is Spencer Brickhouse. He'll take a pitch upstairs. It's 1-0. Brickhouse out of Eastern Carolina. 1 for 2 today with a single back in the 4th. Left-handed batter stands in, fouls off the 1-0 to the left side. Good crowd here at Lowell Park. Third base grandstand nearly filled up. Sparse crowd on the first base grandstand per usual. Here's a 1-1. Fouled back straight into the parking lot on a line. Hopefully
Splash
that didn't
zone.
hit anybody in the splash zone.
Could,
It's 1-2.
That could hurt.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Brickhouse. 1 out and nobody on here in the top of 6. Baker winds up. His pitch just nipped off foul on the left side, and we'll do a 1-2 again. Of course, when you come here to park at Lowell Park, not too much room in the parking lot, so the premium spots are the ones that are closest to Lowell Avenue, and the ones that are closest to the field stay emptiest the longest. The 1-2 from Baker again. Hit high in the air, deep center field. Brundage swivels his hips. He's camped under it to make the play in deep left center, and that's out number 2.
So 2 batters here in the 6th for Bourne, 2 very hard-hit balls that in some ballparks on a very windy day with the wind blowing out would be 2 home runs.
The Baker's still going strong, 5 2/3 here in the top of 6. Breaking pitch dealt into Danny Oriente. That's a called strike, and Baker up in the count 0-1.
Opening day was one of those days against Brewster when Cotuit exploded for 10 runs, 3 home runs from Burdick.
Oriente fouls off a fastball, and he's down in the count 0-2. John Baker only giving up 2 runs so far today, trying to finish this 6th inning. Here's the 0-2. Dealt in fastball, called strike 3. John Baker sits down Oriente looking. That's the middle of the 6th. Kettleers trailing by 2 as the home half coming up next here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the 6th inning here at Lowell Park. Kettleers still down by 2 runs against Bourne. It'll be the bottom of the order due up. Corey Wood, Ray Pastrana, and then Peyton Burdick to face Jared DeCesare, the George Mason right-hander, out-dueling John Baker so far today. Bottom of 6, a 2-0 Bourne lead. DeCesare only allowing 1 hit and 2 base runners. Corey Wood was one of those 2 base runners. He reached on a walk his first time up. DeCesare winds and deals. First pitch curveball nubbed off to the left side, foul. And like many batters today, DeCesare gets ahead with a first pitch strike.
First pitch strikes, name of the game for DeCesare. Jerry Weinstein, certainly in the Cotuit dugout, would be proud.
Here's the 0-1. Ripped off foul on the left side by Wood. All of a sudden in a 2-strike hole. Wood, one of the most disciplined batters for Cotuit. 7 walks on the team, leading the club. Came into today with a .471 on-base percentage. DeCesare's 0-2. Hit high in the air, deep right center field. That ball with some carry. That ball will sail into the trees. Corey Wood, a leadoff solo home run to give the Kettleers some life. It's a 2-1 ball game. Wood cuts it in half. What a swing there with 2 strikes. And Corey Wood delivers to give the Kettleers a 1-run deficit. It's 2-1 here in the bottom of 6.
How about that? He just hammered that one straight away right center field. And for all the scoring we had here yesterday, 16 runs, no home runs for Cotuit. They're back in the home run category. Corey Wood, not usually a power guy, but that time flashing it. That ball just kept on carrying and carrying and carrying all the way over the fence for a home run.
Wood, not noted as a power guy, 22 RBIs with Coastal Carolina. He did not hit a single home run with the Chanticleers in the 2018 season. In the 2018 calendar year, unless you did include BP, that might be the first time that Wood's seen one go over the fence. But he gives the Kettleers some life here at home, making this a 2-1 ball game. Deep to right center field, that one eaten up by the Forest. And now Ray Pastrana will stand in on Jared DeCesare. It's an 0-2 count on Pastrana, who takes an off-speed pitch on the corner. He calls for time. Corey Wood getting the better of DeCesare today. The walk his first time up, solo home run there. All of a sudden, we got a ball game. The 0-2 from Pastrana, swing and a miss on a dropped third strike. Cooper Johnson throws down to Brickhouse at first, and that'll put away Pastrana for the first out of the inning. So the Kettleers spotted a run to start the inning as Corey Wood hits a solo home run to deep right center field. Pastrana strikes out swinging. 1 away and nobody aboard for the leadoff man and Peyton Burdick, who will come to the plate. 0 for 2 today with a strikeout. Bird trying to get out of a slump here. Takes the first pitch breaking ball that'll dive off the plate. 1-0. He's 0 for his last 10 with 5 strikeouts dating back to yesterday. DeCesare winding up, right-hander deals it in off the plate once again. A 2-0 count to Burdick, and that's been the key for him. Getting ahead in the count, and he's got a 2-0 catbird seat right here.
Let's see if the Kettleers can shake up DeCesare a little bit here. The home run, now a 2-0 count.
Make it 3-0 as DeCesare misses away again with a fastball, and Burdick much more comfortable at the plate.
So Corey Wood hit 3 home runs his freshman year at Coastal Carolina.
The 3-0 called strike. A late call from Tyler Bullock behind the plate. It just caught the outside corner. Peyton Burdick adjusts the batting gloves and will step back in 3-1. Here's the 3-1. Called strike, outside corner once again, and that'll load up the count on Burdick. Bottom of the 6th, Kettleers have one back. It's a 2-1 lead in favor of Bourne still, but Wood's solo home run in this inning to start. Full count pitch spoiled off to the right side, foul. Jared DeCesare still on the mound in his 6th inning of work for the Bourne Braves. Only allowing 2 hits and 1 run, but it came in this inning. Wood's home run, cutting it in half. Here's a payoff pitch to Burdick. Swinging a foul, trickling through the 5-hole of Cooper Johnson, and it goes back, and we'll do a payoff pitch again. Bourne in the traveling navies, trimmed in red, gray pants and the red caps with the navy brim. Home pinstripes in white for Cotuit. Here's the full count pitch. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. Tyler Bullock behind the plate. He'll bring up Burdick. Another backwards K. DeCesare dealing and starting to settle in after the home run. His 6th strikeout of the game, and there are 2 gone in the inning for Will Robertson.
Good job by DeCesare rebounding, and I can tell Burdick's unhappy. The late strike call, and that one was kind of a bang-bang call on the outside corner. But DeCesare has rebounded very nicely after the home run.
There's another first pitch strike to Robertson. It's 0-1 now. DeCesare showing that mental toughness on the mound. Here's the 0-1. Turned high and foul on the right side by Robertson. He's down in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Activity in the bullpen for the Kettleers. Matthew Gauthier, the right-hander, getting loose down the left field line. The 0-2 to Robertson. Ripped into right field. That ball is going to get down for a base knock. Will Robertson continues to see the ball well at the plate. He's aboard with a 2-out single.
Robertson was excellent in game 2 yesterday. 2 singles and a double, and that was a really good piece of hitting there. Already a single and a double here today. He's pretty much the only Kettleer, with the exception of Corey Wood with that one solo shot, who's been able to get some consistent progress against Accessory, and now looks like we're going to have a little mound visit. No action in the bullpen, so certainly Bourne going to stick with their lead man here right now. But, man, he's looked really good today. I'm glad Corey Wood was able to finally solve him.
Will Robertson now 6 for his last 10 at the plate for the Kettleers. Adding 2 more hits to his resume today. He's got 11 on the season to lead Cotuit. And he's going to trot back into the dugout along with first base coach Brady North. Jared DeCesare has been yanked. There will be a pitching change for the Bourne Braves. We didn't see anybody getting loose, but it looks like Harvey Shapiro is going to say that's enough for Jared DeCesare, who will exit this game with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. We'll take a quick break and give you the pitching change on the other side of this break. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Pitching change for the Bourne Braves. A new right-hander will come out of the pen to relieve Jared DeCesare. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Cotuit trailing 2-1. Runner on first base and Will Robertson. The new pitcher, Nick Morielli, out of Georgetown University, a 6'5" rising junior. Big right-hander on the mound. Went 2-5 with a 4.69 ERA this past season with the Hoyas. Thomas Dillard, the new batter. Left-handed batsman stands in. Robertson leading at first. Big right-hander out of the stretch. Deals in. Ground ball, right side. That's through into right field for a base hit. Robertson digging around second. They're going to send him home. Trouble in right field for Oriente. Robertson racing to the plate. Play at the plate, trying to avoid the tag. He does not do that as Cooper Johnson is able to tag him as Robertson went skidding to the outside, and that will end the inning. Thomas Dillard's single, unable to plate the game-tying run as Robertson thrown out at the plate, but the Kettleers get 1 back. Corey Wood's solo shot to lead off the inning makes this a 2-1 ball game. Bourne still in front. We head to the 7th. New pitcher will be on for the Kettleers, relieving starting John Baker. We'll be right back with that here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Beginning of the 7th inning, and it's a 2-1 ball game. Bourne still up on Cotuit. Play at the plate in that last inning dashes the inning for the Kettleers. Robertson thrown out as Danny Oriente was having some trouble in right field on a single from Thomas Dillard. Robertson trying to score from first. He was going to get into third regardless, but unfortunately the last out of that last inning made at the plate. So now we'll have a new pitcher on for the Kettleers. It's Matthew Gauthier relieving John Baker. His day is done, going 6 innings, giving up 5 hits and 2 earned runs. He will not be in line for a win as he exits with his team trailing as we enter the top of 7. Gauthier on his 2nd appearance of the year, the right-hander out of NC State. A Canadian out of Quebec, 6'1", 160-pound rising junior. He'll have a chance and try and hold it down here for the Kettleers, trailing by 1 against Bourne's middle of the order. Jared Triolo, Oscar Serratos, and Cooper Johnson due up for the Braves here in this 7th inning.
Yeah, Gauthier from the land of maple leafs and Canadian bacon was really solid in his first appearance back a few days ago against Hyannis. That was a 4-1 loss for Cotuit, but he came in the 8th inning, faced 3 batters, forced a ground out, a line out, and a fly out. So he was very efficient, forcing some quick outs. And right now he'll come up against the bottom of the Bourne order, looking to keep this game within 1 run for Cotuit.
So Gauthier, the new pitcher, Triolo, the batter, on the day. 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored back in the 2nd that gave Bourne the initial lead. Struck out in his last time up. Gauthier, the right-hander, offset on the rubber, winds up and delivers the first pitch. That's down low for a ball on an off-speed pitch. It's 1-0. Kettleers score 1 in the last frame. Corey Wood's solo home run to lead off the inning trims the lead in half. Gauthier delivers the 1-0. It skips up to Pastrana, and he's behind in the count, 2-0 now. Jared DeCesare, his day is done for Bourne as well. The Kettleers doing a good job in the last frame to chase him out of the game. He was on a lockdown on Cotuit batters leading up to that last frame. The 2-0 from Gauthier sent in the air on a line into left field. That's down for a leadoff base hit. Triolo 2 for 3 on the day, and Bourne with the leadoff man aboard to start here in the 7th.
Really nice piece of hitting there, and back to the last play of the last inning when Robertson was thrown out. He was coming all the way from first around to score. Coach Mike Roberts sent him around. Obviously didn't work out, and had Robertson stayed at third base, Zach Bierman would have been up. We know he's been the clutchest hitter so far this season for Cotuit. Just a missed opportunity.
Oscar Serratos squaring around, attempting to bunt. He's not able to do that. A curveball gets by him, and it's strike 1. Runner on first base with nobody out in the inning. Serratos trying to move that runner into scoring position. Top of 7, Bourne leading Cotuit 2-1. Gauthier yaks in another curveball, and he's ahead in the count, 0-2, a called strike there on the outside corner. Triolo, the runner at first base. Oscar Serratos, the batter. He's 1 for 2 today with a single back in the 2nd, flew out to right his last time up. Gauthier's 0-2, grounded right up the middle. Going to be a tough play. That's going to be through into center field for a clean base hit. And it's 2 consecutive singles to start out the inning for Bourne. They're in business, 1st and 2nd with nobody out, and Cooper Johnson will be the batter.
Oviedo, normally an excellent defensive shortstop. We've seen him turn some really, really impressive 6-4-3 double plays. Today there are a few plays that aren't necessarily expected to be made, but he's come close and not quite, gone full out to make the play. Obviously, it's a tired day. Cotuit had a doubleheader yesterday. It was an exciting day, a close game, a blowout. There was a lot going on. So I think there's some tired legs out there, and I'm seeing that defensively as well as, of course, offensively with just 1 run.
We pause for a mound visit here. Jerry Weinstein, the pitching coach, will come out to talk with the infield. Ray Pastrana, the catcher, and Matthew Gauthier, the pitcher. Getting them ready for a tough situation, 1st and 2nd and nobody out. Interesting there, Weinstein without the windbreaker that we're accustomed to seeing him with.
I haven't seen his uniform.
We actually see his game day uniform looking clean as ever in the white pinstripes and a number 4 in maroon on the back.
He doesn't take many headfirst slides, so we don't really see his uniform ever get dusted up. It looks sharp.
And I don't think I saw the toothpick that time either from Coach Weinstein. Maybe that will be the winning combo as Gauthier will turn and spin off to the second base to check on the runner.
I forget who it was, but the other day at Orleans, I had a toothpick in from lunch, and someone asked me, "Oh, you Coach Weinstein out there?"
That's great. That's right. After the tie place, you always get your toothpick. First pitch to Cooper Johnson is a ball. It's low according to Tyler Bullock behind the plate. Johnson will be looking to bunt in this at-bat, a sacrifice situation to get both runners into scoring position. Harvey Shapiro down the third base line, relaying the signs. Gauthier out of the stretch, the 1-0, bunted right in front of the mound. Gauthier will come off the field, it whips it to third. Was it in time? Yes, it was, and that's a good play to get the force at third base. Triolo called out, that's the first out of the inning. Johnson will reach safely at first. It'll be first and second, one out, and the new batter will be Alika Williams.
You don't see a lot of 1-5 putouts, but there's one, and kind of a risky play for Gauthier. Could have gone for a much easier out at first and second, but Matthew elects to roll the dice, and it pays off.
First pitch to Williams, in there with a fastball, a called strike. That was risky. Gauthier went for it, knowing the situation, a one-run ball game, Cotuit trailing. They need every play they can get, and that one looks little right now, but it could be big later on.
And not only does it keep the leading runner at second base, but also still a force at first, second, and third. So double play opportunity as we see the middle of the infield pinch in a little bit with Corey Wood hovering over towards second.
Gauthier sets and ready for the 1-0, excuse me, the 0-1. Grounded left side. Jones takes it. He'll throw on to second for one. Relay from Oviedo. There it is. A 5-4-3 double play. Matthew Gauthier gets a ground ball, and the Kettleers get a big applause as they get out of the inning. Stretch time here at Lowell Park. Ketts down by a run as we head to the home half of the seventh here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park, home half of the seventh inning. Kettleers trailing the Bourne Braves 2-1. Big inning coming up. It'll be the big power hitter and Zach Bierman leading things off. Eric Jones on deck, Bo Brundage in the hole. 4, 5, and 6 for the Kettleers, who scored one in the last frame. Corey Wood's solo home run. And fans, we'd like to remind you that every Kettleers home run at Lowell Park this season is special. Corey Wood's solo shot results in a $250 donation to the Cotuit Athletic Association in memory of Bob Siegel, longtime fan and great friend of the Kettleers. Relief pitcher still out here. It's Nick Morielli, and he'll be facing Zach Bierman to begin the inning. Off-speed pitch, swing and a miss for strike one, and Bierman down in the count. Some darker skies overhead now here at Lowell Park. Sun covered up here for the later stages of this game. Morelli, the big right-hander out of the stretch. His 0-1 sails wide, and it's 1-1.
And to end the last inning, what an excellent 5-4-3 double play. Eric Jones, who has been just superb defensively at the hot corner, going full extension to make the diving stop, flip it to Wood for 1, to first for 2. That's the 8th of the season for the Kettleers.
Morelli's 1-1, right down Broadway. That's strike 2 with a fastball. 1-2 on Bierman. Left-handed batter against the right-handed Morelli. Bierman 0 for 2 today with a strikeout looking. Morelli, the right-hander, stands in, rocking back. Here's his 1-2. Inside, Cooper Johnson does well to block it, and it's 2-2. Kettleers trailing the Bourne Braves 2-1 here at Lowell Park. This makeup game from what was initially supposed to be the second game of the season. Morelli's 2-2 on the way. Inside, did it hit Zach Bierman? No, it did not. They're just going to say it ran up and in. It's a full count. I thought that might have gotten him on the forearm. I think it just went off of Cooper Johnson's mitt, and it fooled us on the sound there.
We heard, though.
Yep. Now we're ready for a payoff pitch. Zach Bierman, the leadoff man in this inning. Morelli out of the bullpen. He comes with the windup and the pitch. Swing and a miss. Got a high cut on a fastball. That's strike 3. And Bierman retired. Second strikeout of the day. First out of this inning.
That's the 7th strikeout already of a Cotuit Kettleer between the starting pitcher DeCesare, who was dynamite, and now Morelli here. And for Zach Bierman, now 0 for 3 today with 3 strikeouts. All good things must come to an end. Not saying his season has come to an end, just he was riding the highest of highs after yesterday. And then today, not quite so electric, but he'll still have another chance to turn that around.
Here's Eric Jones with 1 out and nobody on. He takes a pitch way upstairs with a fastball. It's 1-0. Jones, who's had some really nice defense at third base this season, flashing the leather once again in the last half inning. A diving stop to his left to start a 5-4-3 inning-ending double play. Morelli on the mound, delivering the 1-0. Upstairs again with a fastball. Jones ahead of the count comfortably 2-0.
Jones is a really nice player. He can play at a lot of positions. He can play third, catcher, first. He swung the bat pretty well for Cotuit in these last few games.
Morelli, the Georgetown Hoya, ready for the 2-0. Sent high in the air, a fly ball to deep right center field. Murray on his horse. He's going to make the play near the wall, and he'll make an over-the-shoulder catch on the run. That's out number 2. Oh, Eric Jones retired. Bases will be empty with 2 gone for Bo Brundage, who will now come to the plate. And the Kettleers trying to keep this inning alive, trailing by 1 run against the Bourne Braves, who are in town, looking for their first road win of the season. They're 0-2 on the road so far. Morelli, first pitch to Brundage, grounded right side. It'll get maybe through. No, but a good stop there at second base by Fitzgerald. His throw is late and dropped by Brickhouse at first, and Brundage will reach on what I believe will be tallied an error, as that one nearly went into right field. Fitzgerald stopped it right at the lip of the infield, but was unable to make a clean throw to Brickhouse, and Brundage keeps the inning alive for the Kettleers.
We'll see if that's an error or an infield single. It looked like Brundage, who was really getting his wheels churning down that first base line, may have just beaten out the throw entirely. Either way for Cotuit, now a chance with Oviedo digging into the box.
Inning still alive for Cotuit. Bo Brundage on. They're going to rule that an infield hit. He takes a small lead at first base. Oviedo, the right-handed batter, to face Morelli on the mound. Right-hander will look back and now come set at the belt. Brundage hopping off the bag. First pitch to Oviedo, runs upstairs. It's 1-0. Braves 2, Kettleers 1. Here in the bottom of 7, 2 outs and a runner on first base. Lowell Park with some darker skies overhead. Slight breeze as we get ready for the rest of this game on a Monday night. Ready for the 1-0. Here's a delivery. Swing and a miss. Big hack at it by Oviedo, unable to connect upstairs, and that'll make it a 1-1 count. Activity in the Braves bullpen. Looks like a left-hander is getting loose down there. We'll try and get an ID on that player when we have a chance. Nick Morreale, the current pitcher on the mound. A pedestrian throw over to first base to check on Brundage, and he's in safely standing up.
I have your ID for you. It's Trey Vanderwide, junior righty out of South Carolina. Or a lefty, rather. Still a Gamecock.
Here's a 1-1 to Oviedo. That dips off the plate with a fastball, and it's 2-1.
A lot darker now at Lowell Park, you said at the beginning of the inning, but now becoming even darker as the clouds roll in. When we started, the sun was shining, the birds were chirping, it was nothing but blue skies, but now dark clouds rolling in. Kind of symbolic of how this game has gone for Cotuit, but still a chance to take the lead in this inning.
Brundage at first. Here's the 2-1 to Oviedo. Chopped over onto the left side, taken by Alika Williams. A throw over to first is in time for out number 3. So the Kettleers get a 2-out base hit, but they strand the runner, and we head to the 8th inning. Bourne still on top, 2-1. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. We'll be back in a moment.
Welcome back to Lowell Park, a Western Division rivalry battle, a game that was rescheduled. It's supposed to be played back on Wednesday, the second day of the season. The game was rained out, and now we're playing here today after the Sunday doubleheader. It's 2-1 Bourne in the top of the 8th. Matthew Gauthier, the Canadian righty out of NC State, the first Canadian player to ever play for the Wolfpack, is back on to work the 8th after giving up 2 hits but no runs after a solid inning-ending 5-4-3 double play. Spearheaded by Eric Jones, who has been flashing the leather and then some at third base. An excellent defender. The Davidson Wildcat kept this game within reach for Cotuit, but we're at the top of the order for Bourne. It's been dangerous. Chase Murray will lead things off. He's the reason why Bourne is in the lead. Here comes the first pitch from Gauthier. It's a swing and a miss for strike 1. So Murray had an RBI single to drive in Alika Williams in the 5th inning. That put Bourne up 2. Then bottom of the 6th, Corey Wood smashed his first home run in almost 2 years as ball 1 comes in low. That made it 2-1. Wood out of Coastal Carolina had no home runs this past season for the Chanticleers, but 2 years ago, his freshman season, he hit 3. And he already has 1 this season now in Cotuit. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball drops in there for strike 1, as announced by Tyler Bullock, our home plate umpire today. And it's a 1-2 count for Chase Murray. Here's the pitch from Gauthier. Swung on a slow roller to the first baseman, Bierman. Underhand toss to Gauthier. He steps on the bag to get the first out.
Ooh, a little closer than we would have liked there, but Murray had some good speed getting up the line. Good job by Gauthier to hustle over and beat him to the bag. I just noticed, Sam, Zach Bierman's glove over there at first base. It is massive. Look at that thing. It's cream colored. It looks like a Bavarian pretzel over there that he's carrying. That thing can funnel up anything on the infield. Look at that glove.
What is that, like a size 602?
A big old first baseman's mitt. Looks like a big old oven mitt, man.
Man. Joe Lincoln, the first base coach for Bourne, comes up for a quick pep talk at the plate with Tyler Fitzgerald. Now Lincoln goes back to his post at first. Joe Lincoln, actually a former Bourne Brave, where he pitched in Bourne, and then he went on to bounce around a few major league organizations, and then decided, after some injury, to retire from baseball, dedicate some more time to his family, and now back in Bourne as a first base coach and assistant coach to the 16th year manager Harvey Shapiro. Talk about a guy who's bounced around. As here comes the first pitch from Gauthier in the dirt. Ball 1 to Fitzgerald. Harvey Shapiro has been to 40%, or has coached for 40% of the Cape League teams. He was the head coach way back when over at Falmouth, where he won Manager of the Year in 1996. There's ball 2 in the dirt. Also was an assistant coach previously for the Wareham Gatemen and the YD Red Sox. Now in his 16th year in Bourne. He's the all-time leader there with over 350 wins and 25 in the playoffs. 2-0 is a swing and a miss for strike 1. Last title for the Braves was back in 2009. They were in the championship game last year where they won the first game of the 3-game set against the Brewster Whitecaps, but then like they did all postseason long, Brewster came back and won the championship. Ball 3 in the dirt. Did he go? Yes, he did. Fitzgerald went around, and that's strike 2 swinging. The Braves were 22-22 last year, third in the West. Just a half game behind Cotuit, who was 22-21-1, good for second in the West. And here's the 2-2, a little low for ball 3. And of course, that means that Bourne beat Cotuit in the first round of the playoffs. A 6-3 win and a 4-2 win to advance them into the West Final. Here's the payoff pitch from Gauthier, and it's in the dirt for ball 4. Tyler Fitzgerald, rather. I just combined the names of Tyler Fitzgerald and Chase Murray. He will take first base.
That's tough with the one-out walk. You never want to walk a runner to get base runners, and now Gauthier going to have to work out of the stretch, but he looks back to his middle infielder, says, hey, guys, you got me again. Let's get another double play. I'll get a ground ball for you. And I think that the Kettleers defense, it's been their specialty. I mean, some of these guys are just so sure-handed up the middle, especially on that left side, and the duo of Wood and Oviedo has been impeccable at turning it.
Now here's Spencer Horowitz. Over 3 today, 2 flyouts and a ground out. He shows bunt, and the pitch is in there for strike 1 as the third baseman Jones came crashing in last second, ready to defend the bunt. And now he retreats back to his post. Can the Kettleers get another inning-ending double play? They have 8 double plays this season. Pickoff attempt, unsuccessful. Gauthier gets the rock back from Bierman. And we will do it again. We're in the top of the 8th if you're just joining us. Bourne is up 2-1. 0-1 count. The pitch is outside for ball 1. 2 runs on 7 hits, no errors for the visiting Braves. 1 run on 5 hits. No mistakes for the Kettleers. A 1-1 count with 1 out, a runner on first. For the DH out of Radford U, Spencer Horowitz. Gauthier out of the stretch. It's outside for ball 2.
They're going to try and run here. I can feel it. I think it's going to be interesting to see. Will Harvey Shapiro activate his runner on the base path to try and get him in scoring position with just 1 out, 2-1 count? Maybe the hit and run might even be on. We'll see if Pastrana's got an arm, and I think Gauthier knows it too as he throws over to first.
It's a 2-1 count. We already saw Bourne take advantage of the base paths. Their first run back in the second on a nifty double steal in which Jared Triolo came all the way home. And there's ball 3 coming from Gauthier. It's a 3-1 count. That was back in the second inning. Triolo was on third. Oscar Serratos on first. Serratos first went to steal second, got caught in a pickle, and then the backdoor steal from Jared Triolo. Here's the 3-1 from Gauthier. It's strike 2. Horowitz was showing bunt. And that was a 92-mile-an-hour fastball from Gauthier. Payoff pitch, and it's a big one. Maybe the biggest pitch of the ball game to this point. Ray Pastrana calls time. He'll take off his catcher mask and head over to the pitcher's mound for a brief chat with Gauthier. He gives him a pat, and Pastrana comes back. This is Pastrana's second game starting for the Kettleers. He started game 2 yesterday. He was pretty good defensively at the catcher position. Also 2 for 4 with a big single in the 5th to break the game open. Here comes the payoff pitch to Horowitz. First a pickoff attempt, but the runner Fitzgerald was back just in the nick of time. And we'll do it again with 3 balls and 2 strikes. Big pitch here. as Gauthier stares down Pastrana for the signal, and we're ready. He kicks and fires just outside. That's ball 4. Horowitz will take first base. Fitzgerald moves to second. And here comes the big slugger out of Eastern Carolina that I don't think Matthew Gauthier wanted to see, and it's Spencer Brickhouse. However, I don't think Matthew Gauthier is going to see him, as Jerry Weinstein comes out from the dugout, takes the ball from Gauthier, and we're going to have a pitching change for the Kettleers with a southpaw coming in to try and tame the big lefty, Spencer Brickhouse. It's 2-1 Bourne, 1 out, top of the 8th. We'll be right back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here in Lowell Park, it's a 2-1 game. Bourne leads it, and a new pitcher on for Cotuit. It's the lefty Joey Walsh out of Boston College, 6'1", 230-pound junior, native of Plymouth, Massachusetts. This is the first time we're seeing him this year. In 2018, out in Boston College, he had 18 appearances, a 2-1 record, 6.68 ERA, struck out 27, walked 17. And he comes in a big spot against Spencer Brickhouse with 2 runners on. It's Tyler Fitzgerald on second, Spencer Horowitz at first. Walsh comes set. He kicks and fires and gets a big swing and a miss from Brickhouse for strike 1. Brickhouse is Bourne's best hitter, coming into this game over 400 on the season with a home run and leading the Braves in almost every offensive category. Walsh is set once again, and here's the 0-1 pitch. Hooks outside for ball 1. Today, Brickhouse 1 for 3 with a single in the 4th. It's 2-1 in the 8th. Bourne leads it. Joey Walsh looking to maybe force a double play here and keep Cotuit within striking distance. The 1-1 trails inside. Make it 2-1. Joey Walsh gets the signal from Pastrana. Looks back at the runner at second. That's Tyler Fitzgerald, and here's the pitch. Big cut and a miss from Brickhouse. And it's a 2-2 count. Good pitch there from Walsh. An 89-mile-per-hour fastball just pinned on the outside corner. Now looking for the put-away pitch. Kettleers put on a shift of Brickhouse. The whole infield shifted off to the right. Here's the pitch. Swung on and smacked out into center field. Down for a base hit as it 2-hops into the glove of Bo Brundage. The throw coming home is cut off by Zach Bierman as Tyler Fitzgerald slides home with the 3rd run of the game for Bourne, and the Braves take a 3-1 lead.
I was going to say before that at-bat, Bo Brundage was shaded over to the left side of the second base bag as if Brickhouse was going to hit it oppo, and there was a huge gap in the right center field alley, and that ball just plopped right into it. It was going to be a single regardless, but Brickhouse pulled it right where he wanted to, plates a run, and now a 2-run lead for Bourne. And it looks like Stephen Schock's going to come out here for the Kettleers.
That'll be it for Joey Walsh. Stephen Schock The big righty submarine thrower out of UMBC comes in the game to try and keep things at 3-1. Bourne leads it by 2. We're in the 8th. We'll be right back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here in Cotuit, new pitcher on for the Kettleers as they trail 3-1 with 1 out, 2 runners on in the top of the 8th. It's Steven Schock, the big righty submarine thrower out of UMBC. 6'5", 235, originally from Appalachian State. Then he transferred to UMBC. He's a native of Laurel, Maryland. We've seen Schock twice this season, an inning and 2/3 overall. He struck out 2, giving up just 1 earned run and 1 hit on the season. And here he'll face Danny Oriente, the right fielder out of Louisville, with Horowitz at second and Brickhouse at first. First pitch from Schock. Swung on, a ground ball right back to Schock. Flips to short for 1, to first for 2. A 1-6-3 double play. 1 pitch is all he needed as Steven Schock struts off the diamond here at Lowell Park with his Kettleers down 3-1, heading into the home half of the 8th. This is Cotuit Kettleer Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Cotuit. The Kettleers need a hit, and they need it bad. It's 3-1 Bourne entering the home half of the 8th. 8-9-1 due up for the Kettleers. Corey Wood, Ronaldo Pastrana, and Peyton Burdick will look to ignite the offense, and it's a new pitcher on for the Braves. A A southpaw, Trey Vanderwide, 6'3", 225-pound rising sophomore out of South Carolina upstate. This past season for the Spartans, a 4.50 ERA, 39 strikeouts, 23 walks, and a 4-5 record. And Vanderwide sends in strike one to Corey Wood, who is 1 for 1 today, a walk in the third, and a solo shot in the sixth. That's the Kettleers' only run of the day. Vanderwide sets, there's the pitch. It hooks on the outside corner, called strike two. So that's all she wrote for Nick Morielli. This game was started out by Jared DeCesare for the Braves, and he was excellent. Striking out 6, giving up just 1 run in 5 2/3. Ball 2 runs high, and it's a 1-2 count for Corey Wood. The walk master, leading the Kettleers in walks with 7. Also leading the Kettleers in on-base percentage coming into this one. Here comes the 1-2 to Wood. Swung on, and it's a chopper foul. Off to the right side. Into the Bourne dugout. And one of their assistant coaches tosses it back to the Kettleer dugout, where Ronaldo Pastrana funnels it to the Bat Boys. It's a 1-2 count for Wood. Just 1 run on 5 hits today. After an offensive explosion yesterday, 16 runs in 2 games against YD. The 1-2, a breaking ball outside. The catcher, Cooper Johnson, had to slide over. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Time called. A new baseball hand delivered from the home plate umpire, Tyler Bullock. Trey Vanderwide, originally from Spartanburg, South Carolina. And he's got a 2-2 count against Corey Wood from Coastal Carolina. Swung on, a rocket grounder over to the first baseman, Spencer Brickhouse. He calls off Vanderwide, steps on the bag for the unassisted putout, out number 1.
Hit the ball hard, Corey Wood there. Just right at him. Kind of yanked it right over to first base, and that's all right. Not always going to be a home run every time, but Woods had a nice game today at the plate, doing his job and really giving the Kettleers their only offense of the game.
Here's Ronaldo Pastrana, 0 for 2 today, grounded into a double play as ball 1 comes into him. A 1-6-3 double play back in the third. Also struck out swinging in the 6th. Speaking of 1-6-3 double plays, how about Steven Schock coming into the ball game with 1 out, 2 runners on in the 8th. There's the pitch, and it's a breaking ball in there for strike 1, hardly an offering from Pastrana. Schock comes in for 1 batter, Danny Oriente. He throws 1 pitch, a ground ball right back to him, and he turns the double play to get out of the inning. There's the 1-1 pitch. It's a fastball at the ankles of Pastrana for ball 2. Schock did that yesterday. Came into the game against YD late in the game. Just faced 1 batter, forced a double play, and that's all the Kettleers needed from him. The 2-1 swung through by Pastrana, and the count moves to 2 balls, 2 strikes. On deck, Peyton Burdick, looking for his first hit of the ball game. Someone needs to ignite this Kettleers offense. They have looked sluggish today after a long day yesterday. And here's the pitch from Vanderwide. Swung on, and it's a rope out into left center field. Down for a base hit just past Chase Murray. Coming into second is Pastrana, and he's going to try and charge into third. Never mind, as he just holds up, goes back to second. He'll be very content with the stand-up double.
All right, that'll do. That'll do. Ray Pastrana, that was a hard hit ball, long carrying ball. I was thinking, get down, because that one stayed in the air for a long time. Fortunately, Chase Murray in center field unable to flag it down for Bourne. Pastrana thought about going to third, and as you called it, Sam, never mind. Good job to stay in scoring position. No sense in making it out at third base.
I was worried for a second he might fall down, because when you're going so hard into one base and then you change your mind, sometimes that change of direction, I think the shift in inertia or something if you're a physics major. But Pastrana on second, and here's Peyton Burdick. 1 out. Kettleers trail by 2. First pitch to Burdick, swung on, cracked right to the second baseman, Fitzgerald. Scoops it up, throws to first to get the ground out, but Burdick moves Pastrana over 90 feet. He's now camped out at third, and here comes the red-hot Will Robertson.
Will Robertson will get a chance. Bourne put in a First pitch swinging at bat that time, hit it right at the second baseman, Fitzgerald, who gets it, but a good productive out, hitting it to the right side of the infield to move Pastrana over. So they'll trade that base for an out. Now it's up to Robertson to come through here, get a base knock to keep the inning alive, and get one more home to make this a one-run game again.
Robertson 1 for 3 today with a single and a double, and he takes ball 1 outside. If you're just joining us, it's 3-1 Bourne. The Braves have led it wire to wire so far, as the Kettleers have just 1 run on 6 hits. That 1 run coming off the bat of Corey Wood, a solo shot in the 6th. This one grounded off the bat of Robertson right to the third baseman Triolo, who charges in and sends it to first base for the out. So Pastrana gets on second with a nice double out to center field, but Cotuit strands him, and the Kettleers trail 3-1 heading into the top half of the 9th. This is Cotuit Kettleer Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. We'll be right back. Back here at Lowell Park, where the dark blue clouds have rolled in. And that represents how this game has gone for Cotuit. It's 3-1 Braves in the top of the 9th, and the big righty out of UMBC, Stephen Schock, who forced a 1-6-3 double play in his first pitch, back with 1 out in the 8th, is back on to work against Jared Triolo, Oscar Serratos, and Cooper Johnson, the 6-7-8 hole hitters for the Braves. Coming into this one, Cotuit was red hot. 3 straight wins, a 6-2 win at Orleans. Then yesterday, a Sunday doubleheader, 5-4 walk-off win, where Zach Bierman played hero in the 9th, or rather in the 7th, because it was 2 7-inning games. And then an 11-3 blowout of the Red Sox. Bourne, however, limped into this one. 3 straight losses, including a doubleheader sweep at the hands of the Chatham Anglers, as this one is fouled off the bat of Jared Triolo on the right side, coming over is early, but it's over the fence and into the woods for strike number 1. So Bourne on a 3-game losing streak, but they're out to snap that. The Braves 2-4 on the season, tied for last place in the Western Division with Falmouth, also 2-4. Cotuit right now tied for second with Hyannis, both teams 4-2. Stephen Schock, the windup, the submarine delivery. Him up. Strike 3 from Stephen Schock. And that's 1 out in the 9th.
Boom. Stephen Schock again. Effective out of the bullpen. I think as the season goes on, he's going to be one of the premier arms out of that pen, along with the likes of Deacon Metters, who's been impressive early. But when you get that subby into the game late, he's going to be a unique.
Flies into the grandstand, but it's a ground ball to Eric Jones, who fires to first in time for the out. It landed actually just beyond the grandstand on the third base side. Out number 2. Most of the bat flew out of play. Doesn't look like anyone's hurt.
Hopefully not. I thought I heard some crying down there
but I think everybody got away unscathed. Everybody's looking over there at the bat. It did not go into the grandstand. It went onto the brick area just by the stairs of the grandstand. Hopefully everybody's okay.
Right now at the plate, Cooper Johnson. Half swing. And the first base umpire, Bob Gardner, indicating that he did go around. So that's 1 strike after the loud broken bat 5-3 putout from Oscar Serratos, where most of the bat left play.
Well, good news. Here's some clapping over there. So whoever was affected, it looks like they've at least progressed in some form, getting up, hopefully. I think there were some med kits brought over. Hopefully everybody is okay.
A 1-1 count right now to Cooper Johnson. As shot comes set, he kicks and deals, and it's outside for ball 2. Certainly hope everyone's okay out there. Again, that was most of the bat that came out of the hand of Oscar Serratos and went out into the crowd. Hard for us to see. There's a tent blocking our view of wherever it landed, but as Sam said, certainly best wishes to anyone who is affected. We hope they're okay. As Shock fires in ball 3, and it's a 3-1 count with 2 outs. No one on, top of the 9th. Bourne looking to extend their 3-1 lead. Stephen Shock looking to keep it within playable distance for Cotuit as Johnson calls time. He's 0 for 3 today. A ground out, actually 2 ground outs, and a strikeout. Shock is set for the 3-1. Here's the submarine delivery, and it's a foul ball off to the right side. Full count. Shock loves that submarine delivery. Says he likes to look funky out there. He's got the long flowing hair. He's got the pants rolled up just enough to show a little bit of the sock.
Although not today, Sam. They're actually a little lower
It's a little sliver out there.
Yeah.
Here's the 3-2. Swung on, and it's a little flare out into right field, down in front of Burdick. A single for Cooper Johnson, and he extends the top of the 9th.
Just a little flare, a 2-out single. Now Shock's going to have to work around a 2-out base runner. Shouldn't be a problem for him. This has been his specialty. He welcomes the pressure, welcomes the jams, and loves getting out of them.
That's why Jerry Weinstein often calls his names in some high-pressure situations. Here's Alika Williams. First pitch ball. Alika is 1 for 3 today. Had a double and came around to score on the Chase Murray RBI single back in the 5th. 3-1 Bourne. Shot comes set. Here's the pitch. Hits the outside corner for strike 185 miles per hour on that pitch. Bourne scored 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 5th, and then another 1 in the 8th. Cotuit's only run, a Corey Woods solo shot to right. That was in the 6th inning. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. It's a breaking ball that loops into the zone for strike 2. Really good pitch there from Stephen Shock, now looking for the put-away. Alika Williams is the opponent right now. Williams was drafted in the MLB draft last year by the Yankees. He's out of Arizona State. The 1-2 is outside. Move the count to 2-2. That was in the 32nd round of the draft, when Williams was tabbed by the Steinbrenner family, Brian Cashman out in New York, but opting to stay in school, go to Arizona State. Little pickoff attempt gets past Zachary Bierman, and Cooper Johnson's going to take second base, maybe more, as he rounds second, thinks about heading for third, but stays there. Peyton Burdick was backing up the throw. He had some trouble getting the ball. And the runner advances. It's going to go down as an error. Not sure if it'll be on Stephen Shock or on Zachary Bierman. Looked to me like the throw was a little low there.
Yeah, I think it was more of a bad throw than a bad chance to pick it for Bierman, and unfortunately that moves a runner in scoring position. But the good news is with Williams at the plate and 2 strikes, all Shock needs is 1.
It's a 2-2 count with 2 outs, a runner on base number 2. Shot comes set, out at the stretch, the leg kick and the delivery. A swing and a high foul ball off to the right side. We will do it again. 3-1, Bourne leads it. The feisty Braves have scrapped across 3-1, 3 runs, while Cotuit's bats have been dead quiet. Shock set again for the 2-2. Looks at the runner, now the plate. The pitch swung on and hammered into center field, down in front of Brundage. It's a base hit, and now the runner Johnson charging into home with Bourne's 4th run of the evening. They now lead it by 3.
Tough. That's a big insurance run right there. I'm going to make it a 3-run game, and Jerry Weinstein's going to come out and try and gather the troops, and might be a pitching change here.
Looks like it. Jerry Weinstein takes the ball from Schock. He's going to turn to his bullpen here to try and get the last out of the 9th inning. Schock comes out. It's 4-1 Bourne with 2 outs in the top of the 9th here at Loa Park. This is Cotuit Kettleer Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. We'll be right back. Kyle Kemp is the new pitcher for the Kettleers. First time we're going to see Kemp this season. He's a returning Kettleer from last year, a rising senior out of Lipscomb University. 6'2", 210. He's a righty. 4.11 ERA this past season with 4 saves and 59 strikeouts for Lipscomb. Chase Murray is his first opponent, and Kemp sends in a first pitch ball low. So Stephen Schock exits the game after an inning and a third, giving up 2 hits, 1 run, and a strikeout. The runner on first is Williams. Here's the pitch. There goes the runner. Swung on, and it's hammered out into deep center field. Back is Brundage. He's got it, though, for out number 3. So Kyle Kemp does his job, and it's 4-1 Bourne heading into the home half of the 9th. We'll see if Cotuit can mount a comeback on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Cotuit. Let's see if the Kettleers can mount a comeback. They trail 4-1 in the bottom of the 9th, and the meaty part of the lineup is due up. Thomas Dillard, Zach Bierman, and Eric Jones, but first a new pitcher is in. For the Bourne Braves, Jacob Wallace, a 6'1", 190-pound junior out of Yukon, native of Methuen, Massachusetts. He comes in to try and temper a potential Cotuit rally. This past season for Yukon, he was 1-0 in 28 appearances out of the bullpen. 3.95 was his ERA. Struck out 63, walked 21. He has one appearance so far this season for Bourne, in which he pitched an inning, gave up no runs, no hits, and notched a strikeout. He'll probably look to do the same here, and it starts with Thomas Dillard, the Ole Miss Rebel, looking to start a potential run for Cotuit. First pitch from Wallace looked like it hit Dillard. Maybe it hit the ground first. Either way, it's ball 1. I think it hit the ground and then ricocheted off his ankle, or maybe those black Nike cleats of his. And it's a 1-0 count for Dillard. He's 1 for 3 today with a single back in the 6th. 4-1, bottom 9. Wallace kicks, fires, swung on, and smashed up the middle, down for a base hit. Leadoff runner is aboard for Cotuit. And here comes the red-hot Zach Bierman. Looking to turn the tide today. He's 0 for 3 today. But yesterday, probably the best day we've seen for a Cotuit Kettleer so far this season. In Game 1 against YD, Bierman was 2 for 3 with 2 runs batted in, including the game-winning run, as he walked things off in the bottom of the 7th. And then he led off Game 2 with a double in the 1st that drove in a run, a single in the 3rd that drove in a run. All put together, he's 5 for 6 this season with runners in scoring position with 5 runs batted in. First pitch to Bierman. Trails inside, but it's a called strike 1 as it was just pinned on the corner. 0-1 count for Bierman now with Dillard at first. Cotuit needs 3 runs to extend this game as they have just 1 today. Wallace out of the stretch. Here's the pitch, and it's in there for strike 2. A nice fastball from Wallace. On deck, it's Jones, then Brundage. 1 run on 7 hits for Cotuit. The Kettleers look a little sluggish after a long day yesterday. Wallace comes set for the 0-2. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fought off foul. The count remains at 0-2. Yesterday, 4 hours and 59 minutes of baseball here at Lowell Park. And then today, a few more hours. That's 3 games in just 24 hours for Cotuit. And the bats have been just as tired as the legs. I certainly can't blame them. 0-2 count for Zach Bierman. Here's the pitch from Wallace. It's outside for ball 1. A straight 92-mile-an-hour fastball that time. Wallace comes set for the 1-2. He kicks and fires. Swung on and ricocheted foul right into the Bourne dugout. Heard a loud bang. Thank God it didn't hit anyone down there.
I think a Bourne field reporter down there was right in the line of fire. And
yeah, I saw him flinch. None of the players flinched,
but he
flinched.
Smiling. Look out below.
A close call there. Seems like everyone's okay. It's a 1-2 count for Bierman with no one out. A runner on first, that's Thomas Dillard. A deep breath from Wallace. Here's the 1-2. It's a swing and a miss for strike 3. And Jacob Wallace has sent down Zach Bierman, who's now 0 for 4 today, with 3 strikeouts after an excellent day yesterday.
Yeah, it's been a tough day for Cotuit hitters all around, but it's never good when you have more strikeouts than hits. We've struck out 8 times today, only 7 hits on the scoreboard so far. Hopefully Eric Jones can change that. Still 1 out only in the inning. Dillard did a good job to get on with a nice piece of hitting right up the middle. Now let's see if Jones can keep it up.
First pitch to Jones. Hit on the outside corner for strike 1 as a gust comes over Lowell Park. All the big green trees that pervade the outfield look like they're doing a little dance as they move around in the wind. It's now dark, cloudy, and windy. Rain expected to come in later tonight. Here's the 0-1. It's a curveball again on the outside corner. Called out by the home plate umpire Tyler Bullock for strike 2. Jones fixes up those white and gray Under Armour batting gloves, adjusts his helmet, takes a deep breath, and gets set. No balls, 2 strikes, a man on first. Wallace comes set. There's the pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Throw back to first to check on the runner, not in time. But still 2 outs. Cotuit now with their last chance. It's going to be Bo Brundage coming to the plate. And fans, tomorrow make sure to listen to Sam and I on the radio. We're just going to be on the audio-only broadcast at mixler.com/Cotuit Broadcasting. Should be a wild one over in Hyannis. 6 o'clock start time. Kettleers against the Harbor Hawks. That's the first time this season we're going to see an opponent for the second time. There goes the runner, Dillard. It's a first pitch strike. The throw skips into the outfield, and Dillard is going to take third base easily. He rounds third, thought about it maybe for a second, but the throw came back. And Dillard now 90 feet from home.
Kettleers play aggressive that time, forcing the hand of Bourne, and they get extra, more than they bargained for, getting Dillard all the way up to third base. Nobody was ready to cover there up the middle on the infield. They kind of backed off with 2 outs. They weren't playing infield double play depth. And the throw from Johnson goes straight into center, and that gives the Kettleers a runner on third with 2 outs here, down to their last breath, and Bo Brundage.
Dillard 90 feet from home. Long leg kick and the delivery. It's a 1-1. Wallace has very unique pitching motion. Maybe not very unique, but a somewhat unique leg kick where he kicks it all the way up, forming almost a right angle between his torso and the left leg. A 1-1 count for Brundage. Bo is 1 for 3 today. He's got a 4-game hit streak. Here's the 1-1. High and outside for ball 2. Oviedo on deck, then Corey Wood, who scored the lone run for Cotuit today, as the gusts of wind continue to swirl around Lowell Park. Dark clouds all over. Remember, no lights here in Cotuit. So it's a dark field right now. Here's the 2-1, and it's in the dirt for ball 3. Maybe some life for Cotuit, as the tying run is on deck in the form of Adam Oviedo. Normal depth for the infield and outfield. The first baseman, Brickhouse, shaded ever so slightly to his right. Here's the 3-1. Swung on, popped foul, skied high on the left side over towards the Cotuit bullpen. And now a full count for Brundage, who takes a look at his bat and is ready to step back into the left-handed batter's box. So next up for Cotuit's going to be Hyannis tomorrow. Bourne also hitting the road. They will head to Falmouth at 6 o'clock. Brundage taps home plate, does a little shimmy, and readies for the pitch. Wallace comes set. Long kick and the delivery. It's low and inside, ball 4, and now the tying run comes to the plate with Adam Oviedo.
Boom. All righty. Adam Oviedo has been a big hitter so far for the Kettleers in these kinds of spots. Brundage with another good plate appearance, drawing a walk. He did that yesterday against YD. Fought off the ones he needed to fight off, looked at the ones that he needed to look at. Now runners on the corners for Cotuit. 2 outs in the inning, tying run at the plate. Adam Oviedo, let's see what he's got.
Runners on the corners, Dillard and Brundage. First pitch to Oviedo, just outside for ball 1. We're in the bottom of the 9th in Cotuit. The Braves lead it 4-1. And Adam Oviedo takes a deep breath. He represents the tying run for the Kettleers. A 1-0 count. Here's the pitch from Wallace. It runs inside for ball 2. So maybe, just maybe, the Kettleers are in business. Adam Oviedo, no stranger to big hits. He made all the difference a few nights ago in Orleans with a grand slam to left field in a 6-2 Kettleer win. Here's the 2-0 from Wallace. Just hits the inside corner, and it's a called strike 1 on Oviedo.
Oh, if Oviedo could just poke one through the right side with Brickhouse holding on the runner at first and Brundage, that'd be perfect to get it into right field for a base knock.
Also, a big gap right up the middle. Here's the 2-1. Swung on a chopper right to the shortstop, Alika Williams, who flips to 2 for the game ending out. So the final score, Bourne 4, Cotuit 1. The Kettleers had a chance to come back with the tying run at the plate, but Bourne holds on for the win, and they snap their 3-game losing streak, and with it, snap Cotuit's 3-game winning streak. We'll be back in a minute with some post-game analysis, but for now, the final score from Loa Park is Bourne 4 and Cotuit 1. We'll be back. Welcome back to Cotuit, where the Kettleers have just wrapped up a 4-1 loss, just their 3rd loss of the season, as their record falls to 4-3 at the hands of the Bourne Braves, who improved their record to 3-4. The Braves snapped their 3-game losing streak and the Kettleers' 3-game winning streak. Both teams now huddled on the field with the white-clad Cotuit Kettleers to our left, right in front of their dugout, and the navy-clad Bourne Braves celebrating their victory with a post-game huddle out in shallow right field. A bunch of youngins have taken the diamond here at Loa Park to toss the ball around and see if they can get some pitches, some hits in before sunset falls over Cotuit. Sam Brief alongside Sam Niederman, thanks for joining us for the game today. Again, a 4-1 loss for the Kettleers, and Sam, today the Kettleers offense just didn't have it. An explosive, exciting day yesterday. There was a lot of energy here at Loa Park, and it seemed like early on that energy was just sucked out, and it all started with Jared DeCesare, the starting pitcher today for Bourne, who really was excellent.
Yeah, DeCesare was really good today. He only gave up 1 run on 3 hits, 5 2/3 innings pitched. He only walked 1 batter, struck out 6. He was a tough roadblock for the Kettleers to overcome. And finally, they got him out of the game. In my opinion, I thought Harvey Shapiro could have kept him in the game, but eventually went to his bullpen. And unfortunately, a tough loss for the Kettleers today. Offense just wasn't there. It's one of those sluggish Mondays. You know, we looked at it after last weekend, after the big win over YD, or wins, I should say. We knew it was going to be tough to try and keep that going, especially coming off of a doubleheader. Both of these teams agree to play on Monday, both trying to take a risk. It ends up being a risk that pays off for Bourne. They get the 4-1 win on the road, their first road win of the season. Kettleers' 3-game win streak is snapped, and unfortunately, no more time to rest. We're in the middle of the gauntlet, 13 games in 11 days. We've been saying it. We're about halfway home at Hyannis tomorrow. Hopefully the offense can pick back up in the next game.
As a wise man once said, it's gauntlet season, baby.
Mm-hmm.
A 13 game and 11-day stretch will continue tomorrow. 6 o'clock first pitch at Hyannis against the Harbor Hawks. The Kettleers lost their first game this season to the Harbor Hawks, or their second game this season to the Harbor Hawks. That was a 4-1 win here in Cotuit for Hyannis. We'll be on the call for that one You can listen right here if you're listening on Mixlr. That's going to be mixlr.com/Cotuit Broadcasting. You don't have to download anything. You don't have to pay for anything. You just go to mixlr.com/Cotuit Broadcasting, and you can hear all 9 innings plus extras if we get that from me and Sam. So from Cotuit, the final score is Bourne 4, Cotuit 1. The Kettleers just can't muster enough offense to get past the dynamite pitching of the Braves, and the Kettleers fall to 4-3 on the season. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 6. Until then, have a great rest of your Monday.